The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
The top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
Welcome, everybody, to another Tuesday night here at Beyond Wednesdays. This is the Industry of Comics Show, episode 77. I'm here with my compadres, Jesse Criscione, Dennis Barger, and Emmet from Haven for Heroes. How you guys doing?
Real good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Hopefully my internet is working now.
I'm tired. I've been working too hard, guys. I didn't get into this job so I could work.
Well, you're getting ready to open a new store, so you're going to be working even harder.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking hard work, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So
What was I thinking?
yeah. Crazy.
Hey, if you need help putting up shelves, don't call me.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're the last person I'm gonna call.
Yeah. I do.
I'm
have
gonna
a
call
whole bunch-
Blind Adam and hand him a screwdriver before I ever call you.
Yeah, I do have about 200 extra screws you can borrow that I didn't use.
Eggplant, I would totally call my kids, but they learned too well from me that working sucks, and I could barely get them to fucking work.
We got a good show tonight, you guys. We got two really great people that I feel like have been very successful in what they've been doing this year. Two great publishers in Boom Studios and Ignition Press. We got Greg Hopkins, who works for Boom Studios, and Filip Sablik, of course, who's been on multiple times with talking about Ignition Press. To join us tonight. We're going to kind of key in on their San Diego this year, which I think they just did a really, really good job and how they handled San Diego 2025. I think most of us agree that they were like the two standout publishers at the con this year. And so we're going to get into that. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Diamond, because there's been some major drops from the bankruptcy fallout and what's going on with quote unquote consignment books that are owned, who they're owned by, who owes who money, and all that fun stuff. Have you guys been keeping up with that? It's been pretty crazy lately.
Man, it's multiple drops a day. I was keeping
Did I
up
tell you
until
I'm tired, Brian?
I thought I
hear
had
that?
seen all of them until you showed me one earlier.
Can you
Yeah.
hear that?
No.
No.
Okay, good. My son just started a load of laundry and he has it uneven because it's pounding the shit out of like.
No, you're good.
right.
So I think the biggest news that's come out, we've been talking about how they've been sitting on all these books for a while, and who owns the books? Are they going to get paid? Are the publishers going to get their books back? Are they going to get paid for them? Yada yada. We've been talking about that pretty heavy. And there's been multiple new articles written over on Bleeding Cool and multiple other places talking about the action that's going on, where a bunch of these quote unquote ad hoc committees, is that what they're calling it? What'd you call it, Dennis? The Justice League of Publishers?
The Justice League of Publishers.
Yeah. Who are...
It hasn't caught on yet.
No, it hasn't. You're right. But here's the interesting thing. It says here, the debtor has confirmed that it has not sold stock after May 15th, but has declined to voluntarily provide any information to the consigners as to who sold stock after May 15th, 2025, which stock was sold, or what payments remain due and owing to the consigners on account of these sales. The debtors have declined to voluntarily provide any information to the consigners as to how any party other than Diamond Distributor debtor could sell stock without a properly assumed and assigned agreement to do so. Basically, you guys get the gist of that.
So part of this one, though, Brian, you have to link in what J.P. Morgan said in this lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
they're
Go ahead,
position
Jesse.
one. no matter what.
Which means they
No,
get
and
all their money first.
This basically says JP Morgan knows what the business model for Diamond is, and that business model is getting publishers to give them books that they can sell and then owe them that money for.
Yeah. It says here, I'll read it real quick because it's short. In filings, JP Morgan stipulates and agrees that it was aware of the fact that Diamond dealt in consigned goods and that it had actual knowledge of the distributor's participation in consignment transactions during the period from its initial advance of funds to the debtors through the present. And that's a big deal because that gives all these the Justice League of owed publishers a little bit of something to stand on, right? Up until
but when
this
you
point,
go back to that other thing, the debtor, who is the person being sued for the stuff, says we have no records of selling anything from the 15th to the 7th to July 15th, May 15th to July 15th. And if so, because they would be owing that money.
Yep.
But one of our friends, Cliff Biggers, out of Dr. No's Comics in Georgia, was like, yeah, guys, I've been ordering this stuff from May 15th to July 15th, and here's the invoices of the stuff you sent me. So what up with that? You know?
Yeah. That's when you hear the Law and Order dun dun, you know.
Dun, dun.
Right. But
or actually it's probably more like the Larry David. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah.
But again, this all stems from the bankruptcy that they filed in the first 30 days. So the first 30 days, any consignee has to request a inventory count the day of and the last day of that 30 days. At that time, they need to request their product. None of these people did this, but one freaking company.
No, several people did and were ignored. They tried to call them. But Jesse, I came up with a great analogy while you weren't there. Okay. Let's say I publish beer and Bryan is Diamond Beer Distributors. And I send a case of beer to Bryan. Okay. And on May 15th, and Bryan sells Jesse 3 cans of beer out of that case. And Bryan is going to have to pay me for the 3 cans of beer. And he's got the 9 left. And if I call Bryan and say, hey, Bryan, I'm coming to pick up that case of beer. I don't have a way to get it to you. Well, no, that's fine. I'll send a truck to pick up that case of beer. Yeah, no. You know what? I'm going to sit there and I'm not going to let you pick up that case of beer. Bryan, you know I gave you the case of beer to hold and sell. And if you haven't sold any of it, I want to pick up my case of beer. And then Bryan says, hey, I want the right to liquidate your case of beer to somebody else so that I don't have to pay you for the case of beer or the 3 cans that he sold to Jesse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think now that I think about this whole thing, I honestly wonder if Sparkle Pop, Cubic Zirconian, is trying to liquidate everything so that nobody can have an accurate count of what's there right now, Jesse.
Yes, but the notion is, and let's back up a little bit, when you said they kept on calling does you no good. There's no legal stance for you calling someone and no one returning the call.
Email,
but
documentation.
I will tell you.
Certified letter.
Exactly. That's how you do it. And at the end of the day, there is not going to be any inventory for anybody. And their excuse is going to be, well, back in January, you didn't ask for inventory.
But Jesse, you're assuming they haven't.
Well, the court records don't show they do.
That we're only seeing what has been relevantly brought up in court.
Right. But this, I think what you're seeing is people saying, hey, we gave you $70,000 in product. we want $70,000 back in product or dollars, whatever it is. But no inventory was counted to justify that. So if you get $25,000 back in inventory, that's all they're going to say was there.
But Jesse, have you ever looked at the back end from publishers? And we can get into this with both of our guests because I know they have. The back end from publishers is when you're a publisher, you get a special login at Diamond. You can look at every single thing you've ever sent them, every single thing they've sold. What are you shaking your head for? I've seen it.
No, go ahead. No, finish your statement.
Hey,
That's
Jesse,
wrong, but go ahead.
Jesse, move your camera just over a little bit and up a little bit.
Okay.
There you go.
So I've seen the back end. I've seen it.
I've seen it.
Down a little bit.
Okay, well,
Jesse.
why are you shaking your head? Because it gives you an active inventory of what you're supposed to have.
You need a reality inventory.
Okay, well, if the distributor has fired the people who go check the thing because they're in bankruptcy, how are you going to request it? And if the person who answers publisher phone calls is fired or laid off, how are you going to call that person and say, hey, I need to get a physical inventory? If you contacted the warehouse and said, hey, I'm sending a truck over on May 14th to pick up all my shit so you don't sell it, and nobody picks up the phone, or you even send a truck and you back up to the loading dock and you're like, hey, I'm here to pick it up. And somebody with a clipboard says, yeah, I don't have any pickups today. Sorry, you can't pick it up. So if all of those things happen, how are you supposed to do that physical? The only thing you can use is your back-end development software that will give you a snapshot of where your inventory was on January 12th when they filed, a snapshot on May 14th when all of the inventory that Diamond had sold during January to May was cataloged, and May 15th to July 15th before you walked into court to tell them, hey, don't sell them our shit. Okay, that's the only thing that these publishers can actually access. And I'd heard that several of those things, I mean, other than we had Josh Blaylock here on the show, he says, yes, my back end still works. But I've actually heard from publishers that said, no, our back end doesn't work anymore.
They're still selling the books on Diamond's site. Books are still for sale. Back issues.
Yeah,
but if Sparkle Pop won't give the numbers up and won't answer the phone, how are you supposed to get that information, Jesse?
Right. What I'm saying is, no matter what your count is, that count is not going to be even close to accurate of what they have. And what do you then do?
But is that their fault or is that the publisher's fault? Like, who's going to get?
Well, keep in mind, we're talking about bankruptcy. In the bankruptcy court, we have to go by what was filed on January 12th in the inventory. But because someone did not file every month, so it's showing money going in, money going out, that's where the issues happen here.
And I honestly think that's intentional, Jesse.
Right. That's why I'm saying at the end of the day, the numbers that we're going to get aren't going to match. And someone somewhere has said, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to use this bankruptcy to our advantage. Products then go out that door, and in the end, let's see what happens. So all these guys come together to file all this one massive suit, which again, they then go back to the bankruptcy rules. Where were you January 12th to XYZ?
But Jesse, I think it's going to be way easier than that, and I think that's where these guys are coming from. They're going to go, look, Your Honor, here's our inventory numbers on January 11th. We had 10,000 units at Diamond. January 12th, they filed bankruptcy, and they said they had 10,000 of our units sitting in the warehouses. We don't know what sold from January to May. We don't know what sold from May to July, but we know January 11th, we had 10,000 units. We would like to know what's going to happen for us when we show up to that warehouse. If you tell us you can have your inventory like they've done the deal with Image now. And when we show up on September 1st to pick up our inventory and there's 2,000 units, we expect compensation for the 8,000 missing units.
Correct. But Emmet, how much were they clearing those books out for?
50 and 60 cents.
Yep. So
But,
they're going to say,
but if
"All
that
right,
wasn't publisher approved,
it doesn't matter at this
yes,
point.
it does. Yes,
We don't
it
know what
does.
contract they signed with them.
We don't
for
know what
storage
contract they
books and
signed.
stuff.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, what they're going to say is we sold those books for $1 each, all those diamond books. And then they say, all right, you're short 8,000 books. They all sold for $1 each. Here's your cut. They're going to find a way to manipulate the numbers in the end to their advantage.
Well, we can
nobody's-
say this. We can say that the retailers, or not the retailers, the publishers got a couple good wins. They got that good win from JP Morgan saying that JP Morgan recognizes what Diamond does. But the other thing is very interesting. Did you guys see this? Sparkle Pop files motion to quash trial subpoena. So those ad hoc group of publishers, the Justice League, are trying to subpoena that Joel Weinshanker guy to come and appear and testify at the court hearings. And if you
Wait.
guys-
The guy who said, I tried playing chicken with idiots, that guy?
Yes.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to testify against himself?
I wonder why.
But here's the bigger problem. Still, nobody gets $1 till JP Morgan gets all their money.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they can sell all the consignment stuff and the Justice League could win. We're going to get paid. We're going to get our stuff. It's all gone and it's all sold. There's
But-
no money left.
Now, see, you're missing a bigger point, though. If 10, let's just use my 10,000, 2,000, 8,000 sold analogy. And they come to pick up their 2,000 and there's only 2,000. Sparkle Pop is Diamond now. Sparkle Pop owns Diamond.
But
They
that
can
inventory is pre. If it's still consigned,
But
it's the
current now, not only does the bank and the bankruptcy court owe them for whatever percent was sold January to May, but Sparkle Pop is on the hook for May to July. Okay.
but they can't buy the inventory. If the inventory is consigned, when they're buying the company,
They
They're
assume
they assume the
don't.
consignment, but they don't own it.
If I own a trailer park and I sell you the trailer,
fucking beer. Wow.
yeah, well, trailer parks of beer. I live in Monroe, Michigan, sir. I think right where my demographic is.
There you go.
If I sell you the trailer park, you own the plots. You don't own the trailers. The people own those trailers. Okay.
Right.
But if you try to say you own the trailers, you're going to get smacked by the people who own the trailers. You can't just go in there and go, hey, I'm going to sell this trailer and move it over to this park. No, you took possession of a trailer park that has tenants. If you buy an apartment building, you get those tenants and you get their leases. You can't just go in and automatically evict who you want. You have to go through the proper format to be able to assume that residence back. Now it's all commercial real estate law.
Yeah.
But I've got to believe that the ownership of product put in the care of Diamond A and then Sparkle Diamond B is the same Diamond contract. You're buying that contract.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they can say, this is all that was left when Diamond left. Diamond owes you all that money. This
Yeah,
is all
but no, I understand that. But they have to prove that, though.
no.
They do have to show the numbers. They have to show the numbers.
I just want to
Sparkle
know.
Pop doesn't have to prove anything.
But when you go here, but here's the thing. I'm sorry, Brian. If you walk into that court with dirty hands and say, we haven't sold anything from May 15th to July 15th, and then the Justice League shows up and says, yeah, guys, here's the receipt right here. Here's a receipt that says you sold 20 of my items to this one retailer. So
Yeah,
where's that?
no, but
Where's
here's the
my
thing.
money for that 20? And
No,
I
but
want to know
reread
what
that-
else you sold.
reread that thing earlier where they say they don't know who sold it.
Right.
Well, that's
Just
a
alone
lie.
Yeah, that's
You're
a
allowed
lie.
to lie in court, but you will get spanked if you do.
Right.
It's just a weird wording. We don't know who sold it. So maybe they're blaming it on Diamond.
They're trying to cover up the beer theft.
Right.
Well, I just want to know which one of the publishers were smart enough as soon as everything started going down that said, "Hey, we want to know what you have of ours there. Give us a quick run." And that's what I'm really interested to know. That'll eventually come out? I'm sure a lot of those publishers just didn't even do it.
What happened to all the books at Plattsburgh? What happened to all the Plattsburgh books?
Well,
I heard
you added you added it to that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I heard that they were going in dumpsters.
Right.
John had asked me what I would do on day one. The second I got the bankruptcy letter, I would request a physical inventory by an independent source to go in and do it. Then I would take that number against the numbers that I read in the back end and say, does it match? And then before 30 days, I would request my product to be sent back to me. Whatever the shipping fee is, fine, done, end of story. And when the bankruptcy ends, that's the way it ends. I don't think anybody technically did that. The stores that did do it are big people that have big lawyers that were able to do it beyond the 30 days. But as a small person, what you have to realize is what is the cost of doing business? And if the cost of doing business is more shipping that product back to my store or to my warehouse, then I'm probably just going to let it sit, walk away. I don't have to do this. And 1 second, Dennis, some of these people in the Justice League are very small publishers, and I question why they are trying to get back, number one, probably old inventory and dead inventory, and number two, were they brought in just because they wanted to make it look like more publishers were part of this group.
Here's another interesting thing. You're right that a lot of them are small publishers. Image. We talked about Image. It sounds like Image wanted to know what was going on, and it sounds like they might have worked out a deal with Sparkle, because it sounds like Image is kind of backing off. Is that what I'm understanding here, you guys?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
the question is, go ahead, Dennis. You go.
No,
first.
I just Brian, the second paragraph at the end, they read that Image has. Oh no, you went past it.
Right.
Go up right there.
Image has already settled this matter with the debtor, and now we know some of the details. They read that Image has provided the debtors with a list designating consigned inventory to be returned to Image pursuant to this agreement, and a backup list designating alternative inventory to be returned to Image if any of the inventory on the primary list is unavailable at the time of pickup. So are they saying you can keep some of it and we'll just, I don't understand that.
Not yet. Read the rest. So what it is they're saying, okay, so remember we talked about the overprinting. I'm sure Image took big advantage of that. So let's just say Image overprinted 20,000 units of The Walking Dead Omnibus, okay? And they had Diamond store it because Diamond was cheaper at storing it than Amazon. And then they're like, okay, look, we know we're only going to sell 10,000 units of this in the next 2 years. So why don't you send 10,000 units over to our friends at, where are they at? At Lunar. So you send 10,000. Oh, wait, you can't find 10,000 units? Okay, well, if you can't find 10,000 units of that, you better find 10,000 units of these three things and send those to our warehouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're basically giving them a order to send this stuff and a subsequent order to send whatever they don't have of that to another place.
The debtors shall provide Image access to the warehouse and identify the location of the return inventory. Image shall then pick up and remove the return inventory at its expense.
Yep.
Right. But there's another, the next line
But aside from this agreed upon list of comics and books that the Image Comics can claim back, quote, Image relinquishes any and all rights to the remaining inventory, including any right to the proceeds of the sale of the remaining inventory.
Yep.
Okay, but then once again, this comes back to Diamond's creative accounting that I told you about when I think I actually mentioned the publisher, but I can't remember. But one of the publishers did a solid forensic audit of the inventory that Diamond had many years back. And when that inventory was done, several pallets were missing from what Diamond said that they were going to charge them
for storage.
For storage. And they're like, that doesn't seem right, Diamond. We're only supposed to have about 10 pallets with you, and you're saying we have 20? We're going to send a forensic auditor over there to find out. Oh, wait, you only have 6 pallets. Yeah, you better explain where all this inventory went.
So also, if there's a very last piece of that on that last paragraph that me and Dennis had opposite, we had read it differently.
Which one? The last paragraph?
So no,
up
right before it says so.
So any
no, above that, Image assigns,
and also that Image assigns to the debtors all of its rights to any proceeds from Sparkle Pop's unauthorized sales of consigned inventory. What? That doesn't make any sense.
That means anything they already sold is going to be Pop's, and they don't care to get it.
Yep,
that's what way I read it.
Oh,
Dennis,
you might be right. I didn't read that the right. I'm talking about. There's another. So
they're going to let it be an oopsie.
Sorry,
they're going to let it be an oopsie. Oh, we accidentally sold your shit and kept the money.
Yeah, that might be the whole deal with them. Like, hey, we'll give you what we have, but you guys gotta like give us a mulligan on the other stuff.
Yeah, and I would be very interested on the date this deal was discussed. Discussed with each other, and that's then be very, very important in court to release that day of discussion, because the other publishers then can come back and say, why weren't we part of this?
Image has left and Dark Horse has joined. So yeah, there we go. It keeps growing. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Dark Horse already knows that Diamond's got a lot of, well, okay, I've said it now. I'm pretty sure I said it the first time. Right. Dark Horse is the company that did the forensic audit, and they're the ones that caught Diamond red-handed playing shell game with inventory, charging them for inventory that they didn't have, that they had lost, etc.
Right. So, I was just going to say, keep in mind, backstock for a comic book store is a lot different than backstock for a publisher. Publishers, once they get dead inventory, it's freaking dead inventory.
Well, it's not just that either. If you make 50,000 of something and you sell 30,000 to these 3 suckers, okay, and you paid for the 20,000, and that 20,000 is sitting free inventory for the most part. You've already made your profit off of the 30. The 20,000 is sitting. So if it's dead, you have probably nothing or next to nothing into it. Why are you going to pay the freight to have it back? Let these guys sell it. But you just want to make sure you have it, Yeah.
I think that how it ends is very simple. They come to those terms. Those companies are allowed to write that off. They move on, but at least they know the number they can write off. I think that's where a lot of these people are then be going in the end, because number one, a lot of these publishers have to move on. They are in a weekly business, a monthly business, a quarterly business. It's not like that beer Dennis was talking about is made today and sold tomorrow. Maybe it is. I don't know. But at the end of the day,
it was evergreen beer.
Yeah, there you go. Evergreen beer. So that's what I think publishers have to look at. They have to be moving forward, preparing for the next group of books that have to go out, prepping for a convention, and let this ride where it rides. But if they get a final number at the end, that's what benefits these companies. And let them take the loss. Let them take the tax ride.
Can I ask the 3 of you a question? Bro, do you want to go first, Emmet, before I ask my question?
Just real quick. Why the fuck are there any books left at the distributor anyway when we have to pre-order everything? even if they're doing 10% over for damages, everybody's like, oh, the numbers, they're exactly to the orders. Then how come there's thousands and thousands and thousands of books at the
I can answer that. I answered it when I came up with this whole scenario. When you make a trade paperback nowadays, okay, you have no idea how many trade paperbacks you're going to need. So when you print issue number 1 and you print, let's just say you've got pre-orders for 5,000 units of issue number 1, but you have faith in your product. You tell them to print 5,000 of issue number 1 plus 10% overstock. Now that's 5,500 with the cover A on it. Okay, plus variants, whatever. But you also have them print 1,000 guts for number 1 and just have it sit at the printer. Then when 2 gets printed, you have them print, let's just say you printed 4,000 issue number 2s. You tell them to print 1,000 guts for issue 2 and put them over there on that stack. 3,000 guts, 4,000 guts. Even if issue 5 sells 2,000 units, you still got to print. You've already wasted the money. You've already got all the collation ready for the 1,000 trade paperbacks that you're going to print with this thing. So you got to print the 1,000 anyway and produce the 1,000 trade paperbacks. And then you got to solicit it to the retailers. And if the retailers are like, dude, I barely sold the issue 5 of that book, why am I going to order the trade paperback? And you only get 200 orders for the trade paperback. Well, that means you have to put those 800 copies of the trade paperback somewhere.
To Ollie's. It's an
Well,
Ollie's.
you never know. It could catch fire. The book could get optioned for a movie, and all of a sudden you've got second legs.
That's not all the floppies that are at these at Diamond. All those floppies that are sitting around. It's like I've bought, like, on closeout years before, like when they used to have the Marvel
Diamond Dumps.
Yep.
The Diamond summer sales, the 25-cent variant, ratio variants. I've bought like 10 1-in-100s. If I'm buying 10, how is it don't math to me that all these extra books are left over anyway.
But they are.
And
I'm just telling you,
anyway.
Emmet, it's sometimes cheaper to print 1,000 extra for free than it is to print 1,000 less. It just is.
Right.
Yeah, publisher is always looking for a very simple thing. What printing rate do I get for X amount of books?
Yep.
So if you get 3,300 books orders on your FOCs, but 5,000 is your discount rate, they're going to order the 5,000 at that discounted rate.
I'm going to add one more wrinkle to it, actually, and I'm not saying anything about anybody, but if your publisher business model is, we will print it for you, the creator, and we will charge you against what you're owed for what our printing cost is, and you overprint and you have to pay your creator less because they have charge-offs, then if you get rid of all of this stuff, it doesn't matter. It's just going to go against the creator's already paid for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, if you're so-and-so creator and Diamond Sparkle Pop has 1,000 units of your book there that they've already charged you the 1,000 printing for, it means nothing to the publisher,
right?
Because they're not going to lose anything. They've already charged it off against the creator who they sent a smaller check to because they lost it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, listen,
but I have my question though. I have a question before we go on. And I want you to be honest, because it's long gone, but it's hypothetical, and everybody's doing hypotheticals these days. Do you think Bruce Ogilvy and Alliance AENT would have done any of this bullshit?
No. I think they would have chopped what they needed to chop. They would have taken what they wanted. They would have sold off what they didn't want, and I think it would have been easier than this. I think. Yeah,
I think what they would have done is they would have day one called all the publishers and said, come get your crap.
If you don't, it's ours. In 30 days, it's ours.
Yeah, you got 30 days. Come get it. If not, we'll find a way to get rid of it.
Liquidate it.
And I think they would have. I think they would have called Image and said, "Hey, we look at the spreadsheets here, and you sell a lot of comic books. We'd like to be in the Image trade paperback distribution business. Let's make a deal to make sure you're happy before it gets to this point."
Yep. All right. Let's flip the script and let's talk about the positives in the comic book industry this year. There have been a lot of positives, to be honest. Surprisingly positive. San Diego felt very positive for the most part, and it kind of felt this year. I know the big movie companies were kind of backing off a little bit, and it felt like a comic book convention this year. It really did. And there were two publishers that we just really fell in love with. One we're going to talk about later in the show in Ignition Press, and one that we're going to talk about now. We're going to bring in Greg Hopkins from Boom Studio. Greg, thank you for joining us, my brother. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I got to tell you, man, we're going to, now that you've been here, and I'm going to bug the hell out of you, because you're going to be coming on multiple shows on this channel. I got to say, man, I respect the hell out of what you're doing. I like what you're doing. And you killed it this year at San Diego. Boom killed it this year at San Diego. But I saw you were working your ass off over at that booth. And I gotta tip my hat to you, my friend, and give you some flowers. You did a great job, and you know how you guys handled San Diego this year, and I think most of us feel that way. But before we get in that, I want to talk to you about your comic. You know, how you got into this hobby.
Well,
explain to us how.
I was going to say, can you first have Greg introduce himself so we know what he does
Yes,
at Boom?
yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
All right. Greg Hopkins, kind of master of sales at this point at Boom over the years. I do the direct market. I do the retailer exclusives. I do all the Boom Studios exclusives as far as the web store and the conventions go, plan all those out. So kind of everything as far as the sales go. I do the FOC newsletter every week for retailers. So that's me writing that to all the comic shops. And I love selling comics. So it's fun to kind of do it all the way around for all facets of Boom at this point.
I think you're one of the guys that also kind of has his finger on the pulse of what's going on. I mean, it's your job kind of, you need to have your finger on that pulse for what you do, which is very important, you know?
Well, it's thanks to shows like yours where, like Suspiria, Vilches. We were luckily working with Suspiria Boom at the same time. Everybody was promoting yours, so I think that was like a really good coincidence. But like I've shown you Flops covers, we're going to have it in New York. And so like being able to watch different shows and then see like who's popping on the market every week. And then it definitely helps because I can't read every article, but, I can definitely watch YouTube while I'm working and stuff like that and kind of find out, what's the best thing for us, every week. And then, buy more people that are educated at some points and, dedicate their time to like the hottest artist of the week and stuff like that. So it's been great using your show and also just entertaining, watching 4 shows a week. So it's a lot, but it's fun. So I always watch my 2 times speed if I'm not watching live. So
I appreciate that. I do the same thing, brother. I do the same thing. How did you get into comics, man? Tell us your origin story.
So it was like 92, 93. It was the Age of Apocalypse, Astonishing X-Men.
Yeah.
It was on a spinner rack at Kmart. Walked in, picked it up, and then afterwards, luckily had Toys R Us with their comic packs, and we had Xeno's comics in Jacksonville, Florida. So like I was just able to was always around it after I was able to found the first one. Like it just, weekly my parents would take me at that point, get the $1.25, $1.50 comic. And I just read through everything. I was a big Marvel kid growing up, everything they did. And then Nightfall kind of changed the game for me and stuff like that in DC in the mid-90s.
Yep. I think a lot of us have that kind of story. I started out as a kind of really a DC guy with the 89, but I moved over to Marvel just because the X-Men, it was everything at that time period. And then I agree with you. Once Nightfall kind of happened and that whole saga started, that was kind of like me jumping back into DC. And I think a lot of people have that same story, but tell us about your foray into the industry. Like, how did you start working at a store? What was your,
Yes, I started as a store clerk. I kind of got out of comics in high school, and then I rediscovered them after I graduated. It was like Grant Morrison's New X-Men, and I was just buying everything up at that point, and I needed more money, and they're like, "Do you want to come work here part time?" So kind of started selling books part time, and then uh, turned that into working at 3 different comic shops throughout Jacksonville, and then managing one, and then owning one towards the end of like my first kind of, I guess, like part of working in comics. It took a little bit of a break, but yeah, so I got to work at a comic shop for 4 years before managing one, and then just kind of working on the pull list and doing everything between there.
That's a big
So
deal.
hold on one second, Greg. How did you own a comic book shop and not have a gray beard right now?
So I actually, if you find old photos of me, like I had a white beard about 10, 15 years ago, and like magically it has gone back to brown. Like the stress went away at some point, but I'll send you photos. Like
I'm selling my stores tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But yeah, during that point too, like I ran the North Florida Comic Con in Jacksonville. That was we did a twice-a-year con for 6 years. We had like Nathan's already come out in the artist alley a bunch of times. We had voice actors from Sunny Strait, the voice of Krillin. And then I did a podcast and did like a video, try to do a little video thing too, where we turned those episodes into like read-alongs for comics. So I tried to do as much as I could, but Jacksonville at that time, like pre-pandemic, wasn't like a great comic scene and anything like that. You had to live in New York or California to really kind of work at a publisher, and less remote work at that point, at this point in publishing. But yeah.
Yeah, and the crazy part about this is, was it during COVID that we were on the retailer roundtable?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Me and Greg were on a show for about 18 shows straight, doing an industry show. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. So that was kind of when I got back into comics. I was working. We were doing that with the Comic Online, and then I was working at Archer and Collectibles, doing like art rep with Archer. I'm Derek Chu, Echikure, and all those, and shipping comics daily. But yeah, we got to work with Jesse and do like the pandemic streaming and kind of see what it was like to do like an online convention and stuff like that. Beyond that, if we would have had Whatnot back then, that would have really helped a lot with like the sales.
Right.
But we had like Nick Barucci on with Jesse, Jen King. Just a myriad of people, like really great guests and stuff like that. Dennis, just like we should have invited Dennis. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. But our other host was Rich Capianco, right?
Yeah, Rich with Fan Expo, and then Corey Palmel, who's over there at Archer Collectibles still, the Iron
and Beard. JJ.
And JJ, and that's how I met Big Clutch is through John Jesperson.
Yeah, John Jesperson's one of the best guys in the game. We got to get him on here one of these days. It's kind of hard. I try to pull him over here as much as possible, but he's always busy. So one of these days,
he's
JJ,
elusive,
one of these days. So you talked about Big Clutch. I think that there's something about the guy. I call him the unicorn. He is a special person, and I think that he's probably, out of anybody I've met, and that's no shade onto the 3 retailers that are here right now. I give these guys a lot of flowers, but anybody I've met, there's nobody that I have been around that gets more respect from industry pros than Sean Kirkham, aka Big Clutch. Talk a little bit about meeting him and working with him, or how you met him and stuff like that.
So I first met him through Whatnot on JJ's Whatnot streams. Like those were like 2-3 hour long events where we would just chat, buy books, and Clutch was always there commenting. So I met him through there, and then my wife got to work with Clutch doing like COA designs and some stuff like that for his exclusives right when he left Skybound through like working with JJ. So we were shipping the Patrick Gleason like Webhead books at the time, the CGC stuff. Living out of Florida, it was easy to go grab all those. So I met Clutch through JJ at that point. My wife was working with him first, and then it was like, oh, that's Big Clutch. I'd never seen him in person, and then he's such a magnetic, just a big energy person that he's a uniter in so many ways. Like his energy is great, everybody loves him, and then like you just say his name and somebody lights up. Like there's never a negative thing at all, and he's just so much fun. And just always willing to spread his knowledge beyond that too. Like everything he's learned, he's willing to share, which is great.
Yeah. How did you get involved with Boom Studios?
So I was doing the exclusives through Argent Collectibles at the time. We were doing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, and also Something to Kill the Children. And Morgan Perry kind of just developed like a friendship with her and stuff like that. So whenever she let me know she was going to Skybound and that the job was opening up, she's like, "Why don't you apply for the Boom job? See if you get it." And luckily 3 months later, there I was. Like I was hired to just do retailer exclusives at the start, back when that was still kind of booming in the end of 2022, well, mid 2022 was as far as when all the shops were kind of doing them, and that's evolved over time to take on more sales roles. But yeah, that was I still feel so lucky to be able to do that. Like as a Jacksonville kid that thought like owning a comic shop was gonna be like the peak of comic fandom. Like I get to work at a publisher, which is still the coolest thing to this day.
Yeah. And you worked with our guest that we're going to have on later for a couple years, Filip Sablik. Talk about working with Filip, because we're gonna bring him on with a little bit later when we kick
Definitely.
you off.
So I keep this on my desk every day to think about Philip. Philip loves Ted Lasso. If you've seen any of his presentations, and I call it my Philip action figure at this point. But I feel lucky to come up under Philip. Like he had raised such a cool community at Boom. Such a good program there. Like it was a great environment to come in and learn for my first publisher job. Like Boom's definitely a top 5, top 6 publisher, and to be able to go there and learn, and not feel like pressured, my first year to do anything, like that's because of Philip. That's because of the environment he set up, the community he created there, the people he hired, and just, I mean, such an amazing person that he is. It was great to be able to do that. Super chat.
Alex says, "I gotta pimp more Flops comics for more work. He would do great covers for you, Greg, and Boom, one of my favorites." I think Greg agrees.
I do. I can say we have 3 Flops exclusives coming to New York. I can't tell you what they're on or show them to you, but I can tell you we're gonna have 3 Flops exclusives from New York.
Well, I want to say something. So Greg got a 1-hour dentist talk at San Diego, but that would have never happened if Filip Sablik didn't answer his phone while I was lost in the hotel trying to figure out where they hid Boom Comics' little huge room. And he's like, no, Dennis, you got to go here, and then you got to go up the stairs, and then it's off to the side. And he's on the phone, and it's San Diego. You can barely hear anything there. But he's walking me through the thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think I found it. All right. Thanks, Philip. Hey, everybody.
Well, this is a legendary story because, Dennis, you've talked about this a couple of times on the show. You walking in
that's
there.
the first time I think is that the first time we met, Greg?
Yeah, definitely the first time, which,
yeah.
I mean, it was great at that point. I mean, you did your kids with you also?
Yeah. So my kids wanted to go see the Shinzo Ito display in the same hotel, but I wanted to go see Boom's presentation because they had Lee Bergero up
Bermejo.
there. Bermejo. I can never pronounce it. And I was like, oh, I want to see what this new project he's doing is. And I go in, and it's this huge boardroom. What did you have, 20, 25 tables or chairs?
Yeah, it was like our marketing room, and they let us borrow it for like an hour to do this retailer thing. And Dennis is the only retailer that walked up for that retailer, like Bermejo meet and greet, which, lucky for Dennis, he got a bunch of signed copies of A Vicious Circle, and it was a good day.
Well, and it was just you guys, this was back when Diamond still had the clout. Yeah. And you guys gave a great presentation, and Philip was up there, and he said, hey, everybody, come over to the Marriott right after this. We're going to have Lee over here. He's going to be signing books, and we're going to tell you about this new project, and it'll be great. We want to pick your brains. And my kids are off running around, so I'm like, hey, I got a whole hour to kill. Let's just talk. And we went through it, and then I talked about, what we were doing with the new store concepts, et cetera. And then Lee gave us a whole bunch of background on what happened at DC after the Batwing issue came out. Yeah. It was just a great 1 hour of just getting to know all these Boom guys that I hadn't met. I mean, you guys were all under a year experienced at that point, right?
I think it was like about a year and a half at that point, but yeah, okay. Still kind of new. And then Roz had started with us that first year.
Yeah. And yeah, no, it was great. But you know, it was just also indicative of what I say about a lot of the retailers, that you can't even lead them to the water, let alone make them drink.
Sometimes it's hard, man. Sometimes it's hard, especially at San Diego when there's everything else is there, right? I mean, San Diego is crazy, and that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to get you on tonight, Greg. You know, we're gonna geek out over everything comics and pulp culture on another night, but the reason that I wanted to bring you on tonight is because, you know, you guys absolutely killed it at San Diego this year, and there is something magical about San Diego, but there's something super stressful when you're, you know, got a big of a footprint at San Diego as you guys have, setting up for that thing, pulling it off, making sure everything works great. You know, that had to be a little stressful. I mean, can you obviously that you've done it other years, but let's talk about this year. What was it like going into San Diego this year?
It's become easier every year, just getting to like plan them year after year. So it and then the pack sitting, you know, and kind of ahead of time, we definitely pivoted. We you know, we had the Rangers Turtles ash can there. We were supposed to have the number one, and then that kind of got pushed back, and then that kind of forced the hand to make a something skin in the children pack when that was going to be a blind bag. So that was like a 2 months before San Diego, like really hard pivot. And thank you to my design team, you know, for like being able to change the packaging and all that stuff, because we try to usually go as early as possible. Like we're already working on San Diego 26. Like we had started conversations last week on like, hey, this might be kind of cool to do. So bless them for pivoting last minute. But yeah, it gets easier. The Hello San Diego, that one was a fun book to do this year for the first time that Hello Darkness has established itself. But making sure you know, we're not putting out too much, and then kind of converting what we need to do to stay relevant in the market. And blind bags and comic packs are definitely it. And you
Well,
mentioned Clutch earlier, like thanks to him, you know, for the Battle Beast one. I think that really set the market on how to do a comic pack, like with the different tiers compared to whatnot with the 5 covers and the different versions.
yeah,
So that's this whole build was basically because of Big Clutch and making sure I had different tiers of books.
this was a big deal. I mean, to me, this is what everybody was talking about when it came to Boom going into San Diego, was this blind bag pack. I mean, there was other things. I heard a lot about the Amy Jo Johnson signing, and of course, she's, you know, doing a book for you guys, so that was a big deal. But to me, this was what everybody talked about, and one of the main things that Boom has been doing over the last couple of years are these gilded variants that have been just absolutely destroying on the secondary market. People have fell in love with them, and there's one artist in particular that I want to talk about for a second, and that's Andrew Curry, who has just been killing it for covers for Boom over the last couple of years. Talk about the gilded variants a little bit, and maybe Andrew Curry if you can.
Definitely. So I'll start with Andrew. He was actually our volunteer for San Diego 22 and 23. And then in 23, he's like, you know, hey, by the way, like I did these paintings for Our Flags Mean Death. And we're like, you're an artist? And he was like, yeah, yeah. And he showed us these like wonderful paintings. We're just like, well, why aren't you doing these covers then? And he hadn't done a comic cover yet. So we, you know, we went ahead and like, we're doing one for San Diego 24. Like you're going to have a cover with us. And he's like, by the way, I'm a teacher. I'm classically trained in art. Like I can do these gold leaf guilds too. And it kept on getting better every time he was like saying like these cool things. And we've been able to like develop him and on the covers as we've gone since then. But the guilds, yeah, have been like this added bonus. We've got to have this unique thing at our booth for, and this year in particular, like, you know, we've really felt bad kind of selling them over time. Like we definitely pay Andrew for his work, but at the same time, like when you're making money on an artist, it's not always the greatest as a publisher. So slipping them in the slaughter bags this time instead of the selling them outright, I think worked way better. And then it also helped as far as a product goes with the packs to make them even more desirable than they already were with like the limited to 150 comics and stuff like that.
Well, you also did something really cool where you did these golden ticket things, and everybody was talking about them at the con. Everybody. Like you had these displays set up at San Diego where you showed, like, you know, obviously everything that you got at the available at the con, and you know the golden ticket, you know, what you could win. And that was a really cool thing to happen. Did you get all the golden ticket winners come to you at the con, or are there still golden tickets out there that you haven't maybe fulfilled yet?
3 of the 5 came back, so there's 2 that did not get fulfilled. Now it was like at event only. So if like I know we had a few streamers buy like 50 packs and stuff like that. So
Oh,
sorry,
bummer.
like 20 packs.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's
Yeah.
cool though. That still makes it cool. I think that's,
Oh, no, it's definitely exciting. We were able to get like photos with the winners and stuff like that too, that opened them, and like even with the Andrew Curry Guild, and he happened to show up as the winner was there. So it was great all around. And then the people that won, like you got to see like the fans that actually pulled the tickets and opened the packs, and then like the excitement from them. So I think that helped.
Yeah.
I think.
Shout out to Aaron Yee. He was so stoked for this, man. And we were talking about it on the way up, and he ended up getting some packs. And there was a moment where we're all sitting in the Airbnb and he's opening one of his packs and he sees just like the corner of it. He goes, I think I might have got it. I think I might have got it. And we all got super stoked, and no, he didn't get it. But like, you know what I mean? It was like, that's one of the many people's moments, opening up those packs and you just see the corner and you're like, oh my God, is it the Gilded or, what else?
Right.
But some of these books on the secondary market just really exploded. Obviously the Del Auto foil limited to 200 was a big book that I saw selling a lot. The Gildeds were big books. The glow in the dark one was so cool. I think that's something very special that few publishers I think are doing, and it's very cool to see you guys pulling that off in a major way. So that was a big deal.
Hey, so go ahead. No, go ahead, Greg.
Sorry, I was gonna say glow in the dark's my favorite treatment. So anytime I can put it on a book, I always ask for it.
Greg, you talked about pivoting at the beginning of this conversation. How did you individually, personally pivot from coming from a hands-on owner to being basically umbrella of a company? What transition changes did you have to make?
I had to get way better in my organization, especially like spreadsheets, everything like that. That's really, I think, underrated, and underused here. On the publishing side, is just making sure like the organization is top tier. So, as a shop, it was always easy to put stuff somewhere, or like the pull list was maybe haphazardly run on a Google Doc. But yeah, I mean, I think my spreadsheet work has probably had to improve like 5 times over, in the publishing world has been my biggest thing. But otherwise, it still sells at the end of the day. I mean, I work in sales, and the sales tactics that worked in comic shops to sell the product that publishers were sending, or like our favorite books, like is still there. And it's just the constant, either thought process of what's going to work, what's not going to work. And I sit there with a notebook on the weekends when I'm not working, just writing things down of like, hey, this might work at a convention, this might not work, or this cover strategy. So I think it's a constant, like the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours of like thinking process, and then but yeah, otherwise, I guess the direct answer there, Jesse, was my spreadsheet work had to improve like tenfold,
Right.
like on the publishing side.
Talk a little bit about the whole Power Rangers thing, because it was very interesting this year with the Amy Jo Johnson variant, seeing her there, and that's one of the things about the setup that you guys had. And I've said this before, it felt it was put together like perfect. It felt like you could get in there and walk around, still see stuff without feeling too cramped. When there wasn't a creator, an artist, or somebody there to sign, you had it set up to where that you had to deal with the lines and stuff, but it still didn't feel too cramped.
Can I piggyback on that one, Brian?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, so clearly you had a great year, but it's daunting to be able to make an impact at San Diego. Can you add that to it? Like, how do you even attract a crowd at San Diego to have them even see your booth?
I think just expectations from previous years. I mean, we've been pretty good the past few years with attracting crowds, whether it be like, this is our second year with Amy Jo Johnson. So I think people were happy about that again. The guilds previous years. So we've notoriously had a line at the booth like the past few years, kind of like when the show starts, and that's helped a lot. But using that data and then not scheduling signings for the first 2 hours of a day, I think kind of helps. To what Brian was saying about booth space or booth utilization, and then going as far as like setting up, like going back to spreadsheets, like we set up the glass cases this year on the spreadsheet for the first time, like a complete mock-up of like where the product's going to be. So we kind of dove deeper into that just to make sure like the booth setup was nice and all the panels.
Yeah, those glass cases were killer, man. The way that they were set up kind of like helped, move people around the area, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it was a great setup, but there was always something going on there. Always something going on there, right? Which was really crazy. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things as a retailer, a publisher, or somebody who has a booth at San Diego, that you're going to be bringing in all these guests to sign, like hurting all these guests to sign. Like that's got to be something crazy too, because, they're always being pulled one way or the other.
Luckily, we have time to kind of think and plan about that months and months, in advance. But it comes down to good planning at that point to make sure you have something, hot every day, signing wise and product wise, whether it be a drop or product limits and then signings.
When do you guys, how long out do you guys start thinking about San Diego? Like, is that the year before? Is it 6 months prior? Like, how long out until you say, okay, now let's start getting it ready?
It kind of comes in stages. I would say like a year before in some regard. Like we've already talked, like a possible pack next year for Something Skip with Children and Power Rangers blind bags, just because we have to kind of get those further out. But I mean, also like we're still finalizing a couple New York Comic-Con books, smaller ones this week. We have like a first quarter convention next year. We're kind of starting to get things locked in on. So it's different stages, but a year out for ideation a lot of times. Sometimes 2 years out, depending on if we kind of know when things are coming.
So will there be bags for New York?
As far as like the tote bags, the blind bags.
Blind bags.
Yeah. We'll have a new comic pack for New York. It's going to be 2 books instead of 3 books. I don't think anybody's going to get mad at me at Boom for saying that. And it'll be $60 instead of $75. So it's not just like a same replica of our last blind bag. It's something completely new. And then the artist in this one, Flops, will be in there. I'll go and spoil that one. But the other artists are just stunning. I don't know. I've been working all year on this. This is our return to New York, so it has to be like the best return ever in my head. Like we have to say Boom when we're done, or else we didn't do our job at Boom.
Amen, man. I love.
So
that.
I got a question. You've got to know the answer to it. So with the 5 years ago, I could have said, "Hey, Philip. Hey, Ross. Where's Boom on the publisher pecking order?" And it was always around 6th or 7th, behind Image and Marvel, DC. Now that everybody is off, is there less of a, clearly, I don't think anybody knows what any publisher's order is nowadays, but is there a level of kind of relief? Like, oh, we don't have to fight this paper dragon of 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, I could just focus on this job and not have to worry where our ranking is in the industry.
Yeah, I think there's a level of that. And I think some of that just comes from being like owned by PRH, Penguin Random House. Like whenever they bought us, they brought us out to California last year, and we had a meeting, and they told us, there's a 100-year plan. It's not a like Boom has to, make money next year or anything like that, or in the next 5 years. It's like over the next 100 years, this is what we would want to see. But so I think we all felt a little more like relief of like, let's just go out there and make like the best stuff we can. And then like, you'll start seeing that with like we have like Marion Heretic on FOC this week. So we have new titles coming that I think are really exciting too. And like, so like 2026 is going to be like a great year for Boom. As we just haven't been rushed to have to, do our best right away or anything like that. And I think like Philip's had that same luxury with Ignition, to where like he's got some amazing titles coming out because he's just been patient and be able to kind of work at his speed to get that corrected. And series out on time, so we're not stumbling to the finish line when we do a number one.
And you have one of the biggest hits in comics right now with Something Is Killing the Children. I mean, it's a monster of a book. It is one of the books that I hear people talk about the most when it comes to stories, reading it, how great the series is. What, like 40 something issues deep on this thing now, multiple offshoots. You got the special, like a 0 issue, I think, coming out or something like that. Like, this thing is a monster of a series that is just like that engine of that train that just keeps on moving. It is amazing.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely one of the, I think, like the good, like, tentpole cornerstone for Boom. And we have Berserker on top of that, which always does amazing numbers. And when it comes back around, it's always a great book. So we have a new one shot coming up in November for that one too, which will be exciting. But yeah, Something to Steal the Children, it's definitely it's been a behemoth of a book. And then James committed to 100 issues total on that one recently. So like it's going to keep going and getting better.
So I have a question on that because
Mhm.
the last time he took a big hiatus, I lost all my subscribers for it, who then picked a different book. And when it came back, they didn't move back to Something's Killing the Children. It's similar to Saga. I had the exact same issue with Saga. And now since they came back, I did pick up some subscribers, but then who have left again because of the constant hiatuses.
You know where the biggest one of those happened? Remember when Grant Morrison was doing Batman and decided to take a hiatus and had James Robinson fill in for him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Batman,
that book.
how about Frank Miller's Golden Child or The Master Race, or there's a lot of them that
Yeah. I mean, there's so much evidence of don't do this, guys. It baffles me why they still do it.
Well, it's hard to tell no to James Tynion, who's creating the whole thing, or tell him like you can't do this when what are you going to do when he's proven himself? I mean, this isn't just some guy that's giving you a new series that's right off the streets.
Yeah, the question is that is it creator owned, or does Boom did Boom own part of it or most of it, or how's that work?
It's pretty like 50-50. I don't know the exact contract details, but pretty much like we kind of we have some ownership, and then it's also creator owned. They have all the the rights and royalties and stuff like that still on that, and a lot of decisions on the product.
To answer Brian's question though, I mean, when James says, "Hey, I want to take a hiatus," I go, "Yeah, James, you're James Tynion, but Brian K. Vaughn's still Brian K. Vaughn, and Frank Miller's still Frank Miller, and Grant Morrison's kind of Grant Morrison, and it hasn't worked out for the three of them."
Yep.
And that's what I would just, I mean, that's where you just kind of have to go, hey, man, it's your choice, but bigger and equally great guys as you have made this same mistake. I would hope that you don't make it too.
Well, it comes down to then is the business model, not really worry about the floppies, get to the trade paperbacks. Since everybody fell off, they're just waiting for the next trade. They're not going back to the floppies. And then is it a movement more into the trade? It has to have something to do with a business model. And if it's just like on a whim, it's kind of.
That's a great question though for Greg, because like I said, Greg's a number 5, number 6 publisher in the business right now. What are the numbers for trade paperbacks on Something Is Killing the Children? We never get data like that anymore. Like volume, what volume are they on right now? Like volume 8? Is that where you're at?
Volume 9.
Volume 9? Okay.
Yeah. And then we just had the Omnibus 1 FOC this past week.
Okay, but can you give us a background on like how much does volume 7, 8, and 9 sell to the retailers?
Oh, they definitely do not give me access to those numbers. I'd probably.
But are we talking 1,000 copies? Are we talking 5,000 copies?
Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, between. I mean, Yeah,
but
I mean,
not to
between the retailers,
retailers,
and
right?
the
It's
book
the
market,
book market. It's the
yeah.
book market. Way bigger.
Oh, see, we
market.
want to know retailer sales because
I don't think they separate them.
they used to,
Especially not with
They-
Penguin Random House being, the big boss
Well,
now,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I will see. Diamond was easier to access, like Dennis had said, with the back end login. You could go look at numbers way more easily, like back in those days. But yeah, Penguin Random House, you get you definitely don't have that kind of access.
Okay.
Like Diamond had.
What was that like jump over to Penguin Random House like from your perspective? Because we've talked to Ross about it, we've talked to Filip about it, but from your perspective, what was that like when that all happened?
Surprising at first. I mean, I think like that was the first time I got on like comics YouTube also, and I saw like Thinking Critical talking about, this was months in the works, we're all sitting there, boom, going like, oh, we're doing a great job. So I think, from like the insider, like kind of like taking a step out, like it was surprising. And then otherwise, I try to compare everything to football. And it's a new season. Like, teams change occasionally, like you get new players in, new players out. And then when new coaches come in, sometimes you get new coordinators because they have somebody they want to work with.
I think now that we have hindsight on this one, Greg, it's kind of like saying, hey, can you get on the ship to shore radio and see if my yacht can pick me up from this Titanic ship? Because I'd like to go back to England. Because there was a big iceberg a year away from, or 6 months away from.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah. And it was kind of cute the way Boom, owned by Penguin Random House, was like, yeah, we're not going to wait for this bankruptcy to end. We're just going to move everything over here now instead of later. So find us over here now. Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk to you about something because I mentioned it on the show last year. The way Diamond did Boom dirty last year at San Diego at the retailers lunch. Do you remember that?
Not exactly, no. Sorry.
Okay, so Diamond, Boom was usually up front in the front half, like the first hour. And so Diamond decided to move Boom a month after being announced that they were sold to Penguin Random House over to the end of the presentation, right before the guys that were selling the
Beyblades, yes.
Beyblades, right? They put you on after Beyblades. And I was like, this is fucking intentional.
It was. We had Marvel
you're going to go over to our competitor and you still want to do our lunch? After the Beyblades, guys.
Well, let's talk about if we're going to bring up lunch, let's talk about
this year. Yeah. Dennis didn't get his lunch. Yeah. I already put the recommendation in the Penguin Random House. I was like, we have to have lunch at and giveaways also.
But they also did, what did they give? Like everybody only got 5 minutes. One girl got up there and I swear she had her phone. She never looked up.
It was Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan. She read as absolutely fast as she possibly could.
She probably only got 5 minutes. Yeah.
That's it. 5 minutes. And she had so much to talk about.
And Morgan used to be at Boom. Were you there when Morgan was there?
No. So I took her job over whenever she left for Skype.
Morgan's a sweetheart. We love Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
No, she did her best because she was given a list that was way longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And no book is memorable from that because my brain couldn't absorb any of it.
I think I had the benefit of going at the end too, so I could kind of see this is all condensed. And we only had 6 slides, but I was still like, you know what, I'm going to focus on 3 of these. Everything else is ancillary. You can find it later.
I didn't like the tribalness of it. The fact that Lunar had the first half and the second Lunar was done. Everybody associated with Lunar, after the woman unplugged her laptop, they walked out in single file order and just walked right out of the lunch. Like they didn't want to hear what the industry was having to talk about. And then you guys basically just moved forward, all sat in the front rows. You sat in the second row over by us. And then it was like, okay, this is Penguin's hour and a half, and boom, you guys went 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And then I was like, all right, shuffle out of here, guys. Grab a can of water on your way out.
Yeah, it felt like cattle being herded a little bit this year. We had to wait outside during the Lunar one too.
We weren't sure. So they
we
made you
weren't-
guys wait outside?
Yeah, we just had to
That's
stand
so
outside.
stupid.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
fucking bullshit in this industry.
Oh,
Well,
All right, I got
you didn't miss anything.
We couldn't get the ghost machine secrets. I think.
So I got two things. Number one, using the football analogy with the Jacksonville Jaguars hat on, very, very ballsy. That's the first thing.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh.
Here, Cowboys
the
fans,
heck?
even worse.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you keep the eye on the ball between weekly business and convention business?
You do the best that you can do, and then you just hope it's always good or good enough at some weeks. But again, just sheets and planning. I mean, I give myself so many. We use Asana, which is a task management system, and one that Philip loves. And then I have daily to dos, and it's just constantly reminding myself to do those tasks. But otherwise, I've kind of been able to fracture my days into certain jobs. Per a different thing, whether it be exclusives, FOC work, just prepping retailers, for the next month, prepping PRH. We have to do a monthly sales pitch to PRH sales reps on our books too. So I think it's pretty much like Philip was, big in teaching like time management. You don't have your email open, during these parts of the day. So, you're not, distracted on that. So I think I've been able to, again, kind of come up under him and learn some good practices to be able to manage my time wisely and mostly do the best job I can do. I do drop the ball occasionally still. And as Philip always says, what we used to say is it's like, if it's a rubber ball or a glass ball, like, sometimes you drop a rubber ball and it's not that bad. You just have to make sure you catch it when it bounces back up.
Yeah, I think
I have sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, you can go ahead, Dennis.
Well, mine's completely off fucking base. So, as a person
about
who,
the Cowboys, Dennis,
as somebody who grew up in Georgia and visited Jacksonville, and probably knows St. Augustine a little bit, if you ever traveled south of there to travel, and I'm sure a young man like yourself probably visited Daytona. If you were just like, I don't know, a 50-year-old retired comic retailer and wanted to open a new concept store in either Jacksonville, St. Augustine, or Daytona, which would you choose?
honestly, Daytona is probably the smartest. It's close to Orlando. Orlando's definitely the comic hub of Florida, like Jacksonville.
I would only be an hour away from DeLand, so
Yeah,
That's not bad then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacksonville's, Universe Superheroes has a couple shops up there. I think they're really, not Universe Superheroes, I'm sorry, Phil Boyle, his shop.
Coliseum?
Coliseum, yeah.
I don't want to be anywhere near a Phil Boyle store.
So,
Jesus, here we go.
What? Yeah, you're going to be there anyways. You know what? Congratulations. I just got Panels Plus.
oh, thank you. That was our first one,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and you guys are the very first vendor.
Let's go
It
ahead.
It helps
and,
whenever
take a look
you
at this.
start with, the first letter of the alphabet for publishers,
This
at least the
is-
Diamond PRH reps.
Yeah, it is great work. I'm sorry, I know you guys.
Is that their first catalog, Jesse?
I
It
don't
is not
think
the
so.
first. No, it's not the first panels catalog.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, this is panels number 4, I believe. So yeah, very good job getting that front page. As you know, retailers that look in this book, we get kind of page tired after about page 10. So being the first 4 pages, I think is very important. So very good job on that.
Can I ask you all a question, if that's all right?
Of course.
On this one?
Sure.
Absolutely.
How do you miss the physical previews catalog? I know we've kind of like
Yes.
so yes on Emmet.
I miss it because when I can put my Pepsi on something higher and that catalog underneath it, that's about what that is worth to me. Because
I'll
it's
disagree
too
with
big.
Jesse.
Hold on, I'm not done yet.
Oh,
It's too big. I gotta go on my rant here. It's too big. You gotta get halfway, then you gotta flip it over to the other side. Your customers want to rip out pages on it or put little stickies in it. When I can just go to my phone and do it there, or have this nice catalog that's a quarter of that size. I
It's
think
got a quarter
that's,
of the stuff in it, though.
but that's okay.
Well, no, but Jesse, here's the thing. A diamond preview. Now, is that all glossy pages, that Penguin Random House panels?
Yeah, all glossy pages. Yes,
okay. Do you have to pay for it, or do they give you one for free?
It's free.
Okay.
One.
So that's great. But
One. Just
What?
one.
What?
Just one.
just one. Okay.
I
How
got to
much
pass
is it?
that to each customer. I have 40 subscribers.
Okay,
Gotta make
but
sure I
here, let me
catch
get
them
to
when
my
they come
point.
through the door.
Let me get to my point.
All right.
A catalog made by this industry that isn't tribal and could use newsprint printing, because every time somebody said, oh, we don't know how to use newsprint, I always just say, somehow Previews makes a 500-page catalog every month out of newsprint. So somebody knows how to make newsprint, and it's pretty damn good. But the problem with Previews was it was kind of a greedy magazine where every publisher had to buy more spots into it to get more visibility. I don't care about full-page ads. I don't care about 4-page previews. I want to see the book. I want to see the entire creative team. I want to see a description about it, and I want to see what the price is. And a catalog half as thick as Previews, made out of newsprint, that I could give away free to my customers to let them flip through it, is a benefit to the industry. And if Penguin and Lunar could somehow get on the same page and figure out a way to make that, and maybe include Filbo, and maybe include what's the guy in the chat that's I always forget his name? Panelfly. And maybe if all of those guys could get in there and just say, all right, look, Panelfly, Filbo, you guys pay 10% of the catalog each. Penguin Random House is going to pay for 40. Lunar's going to pay for 30. We might sell one, we might allow people to bid on who gets the front cover, or whatever. But this is not a cash grab. This is a thing for the industry that we want the industry to have monthly. That's what I would like to see when it comes to that. But that's a pie. That's a pie in the sky. Fucking
Yeah, nobody can work together that easy, bro.
If we can't get them to share a goddamn diamond lunch, how are we going to get them to share a catalog?
I can't send my customer to any one place to see all the comics coming out this month who aren't trying to steal my customers. There is a few places online, but they are all doing subscriptions online. You can see what's coming out, but anything like you can't click a list and send it to me because you're sending it to the company who's stealing my customers.
Right. I mean, honestly, I'd trust somebody like Cover Price. Could you put together a catalog monthly, and for how much? Yeah. And you'd have to print 1,500 copies to go out to the retailers. Retailers could order X amount additional based on their order preferences. You make it some kind of co-op with Penguin Random House and Lunar to pay for the overprinting. Figure out where Diamond printed them on newsprint, for 25 years.
What's the minimum print run on an exclusive with Boom now?
Oh, I wanted to know that.
Most new titles, it's just like 300. If it's like something that's on the children, we usually do like 750 on that one, just with it, with a bigger title. But also like on that one, we only do like 5 exclusives per issue, just not to kind of overdo it on the market and stuff like that. So it's a very limited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you, man. I want to talk about one variant really quick. And we kind of hit on it a little bit at the beginning of the show, and this was a San Diego variant. This is Hello Darkness, and you guys did Hello San Diego, and it's Miguel Mercado just continuing to kill it. One of the best cover artists in the game right now. Everything he's been putting out lately has been fire, but this was such a cool idea. Is there any news about maybe we're going to see a Hello New York in New York?
There is, and I I can go ahead and give the artist away on this one. I don't think anybody's getting mad at me on my side, but we have Sveta Shabina doing our Hello New York cover. And so I've seen the fully dressed one where it says Hello New York on it, and it's stunning. I can't wait. It's one of those like passion ones that we've been sitting on for a little bit. Could have had it for San Diego, but wanted to.
Could we make
wanted
one
to
for
boom.
Hello Detroit where the car is up on blocks and there's more graffiti?
Well, listen,
like this.
I'm stoked, Greg. You guys, I mean, you kind of mentioned it earlier, and we love Sveta over here. You guys did an amazing. We talked about the Suspiria cover, which I think is one of the best covers of the year. I think that this is.
Oh, yes.
It came out so good. The holding it in your hand, the way it looks, the gloss, the foil, everything about this cover is a 10 to me. And Suspiria is one of our favorites here, but and now Sveta, who is obviously one of our favorites over here. I am so stoked to see this, and I can't wait, man. That's gonna be a big deal right there.
It's gonna be a good one. I can't wait for New York.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna do my best to get out there this year. I know these guys are gonna hopefully be there this year. I think New York this is gonna be a big event for comics this year. Also, like San Diego was. It's coming up quick, which is another thing I think we forget. We get back from San Diego, and some of us jump into like Terrific Con or a couple other cons, but New York. A couple months away, it jumps up on you really quick, and you guys are going to have a lot of stuff going on there. You talked about the new blind bags, obviously the Hello New York book, which is, man, that's a big deal. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this on the replay that are going to be super stoked about hearing that name on that book. So, and Adam, who works with Sveta, is a great guy, and I think he's doing a good job. And the way that you talked about how you guys like to work with the retailers and try to limit and do stuff. I think that's a very interesting play. It's kind of like a new way at looking at comics. I think there's this old school vibe about just print as much as you can, and I think there's like this new thing that's kind of happening where you realize that having some collectability and some making things a little bit rarer is important in this industry. Is that something that you kind of key in on?
Yeah, just trying not to break the industry. Like I don't want anybody to point to us say like y'all did too many, but like when I started at Boom, they had a contract account program where they only worked with 6 retailers on exclusives, and that was it. Like there were a couple titles a year there where they would maybe do open submissions, but otherwise it was just these 6 retailers annually that they worked with, and we kind of worked to open it up a tad bit more than that, but also still to preserve the comics. And then also on our side, it's never been about how much can we sell. It's always about how much can the team handle, how much can the team do. The direct market isn't burdened or anything like that because our editors take on a lot of the art duties instead of, we don't accept art. Like a lot of the editors reach out to the artists and take the art on themselves, more like Marvel's style of exclusives. So it's also a time thing on our side. So Boom's never been like, you just have to sell as many as you can, which I think has helped on our end to not, break anything, and kind of maintain a decent amount of exclusives without going too far and just doing it for the sake of sales or anything like that.
Yeah. Amen. Jesse, you're on mute. I want to, before Jesse answers this question, I do want to ask something for Jesse real quick. Greg, is there any chance that you can put your detective hat on and find out where those missing Power Rangers variants are that Jesse had?
Oh, I heard about these. Yeah, I'll have to. I can ask some people, see anything like that. But also,
green. The Megazord. So it's the Megazord. It's the 11th piece to the connecting cover. I'll send you a picture in Facebook.
Right. So for those of you guys that don't know, there's this famous story where Jesse does this 11 cover connecting set, this very famous Power Ranger set, and the final
12
cover.
covers.
12 covers, right? Is it 12 covers? Yeah. And the final cover ends up going missing at a con, one year. So we're looking for it.
Yeah. So you have a question here. It says, how rare is the chainsaw variant in the Something's Killing the Children #0 intermix poly bag?
Ooh.
Was that a 1 in 50?
I think so that was a 1 in 20. So there are 3 covers in that one. You had the sword, the bow and arrow, and the chainsaw. The sword and the bow and arrow were ratios of 40 each, and then
Okay.
the chainsaw was the rarest bullet, a 20% ratio.
Okay, there you go. And then the second one was, any updates on Berserker?
So we'll have Berserker: The Bleeding Tide #1 that releases in November. It's a new one-shot written by Marjorie Liu. It's a pirate-themed one-shot, so it's going to be B on a pirate ship doing some really cool things. So I'm excited for it. And then Marjorie Liu is a phenomenal writer.
Amazing.
And we have Gary Brown on
Monstrous?
the art on that one.
Is that
Yep.
Monstrous?
Monstrous,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Yep.
And then we'll have some cool Berserker announcements, end of the year, all that fun stuff too. Like it's definitely like Berserkers. We announced the movie last year at Comic-Con and stuff like that. So it's all moving forward. It's just slowly coming along on some aspects.
Well, man, I can't say enough thanking you for jumping on with us tonight. We're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna bug the hell out of you and get you to jump on other shows with us as much as I possibly can. I think that you're a big positive aspect of what's going on in this industry. I appreciate how you look at things, how you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on. And I can't wait to hear more in the future from what's going on, not only with Boom, but also what's going on with Greg Hopkins. But before we do, I want to bring in our second guest, who you might know. Ladies and gentlemen, Filip Sablik joins us. Philip, how you doing, brother?
Hi guys, how are y'all doing? Hey Greg.
Good.
Hey, this is amazing. Look at this. I'm on the same show as Philip.
That's right.
So nice to see you.
The
So good to see you
youngin'
too.
has grown.
Yeah.
And I just want to say I'm super excited about that next Berserker special. I know that having Marjorie Liu write something over at Boom is something that's been on the hit list for a long time. So awesome to see that finally happening, and can't wait to pick it up at the shop.
Same, everything with Ignition too. And I was showing them earlier in the podcast. So this sits at my desk every day. So this is my Philip after you left. So think about you all the
Believe.
time. And I curse
That's
sometimes when I look at it. But no, it's
That
great.
sounds right. That sounds right. See, this is my guy. He's hanging out. Got a little Believe pin here, and then
There we
yes,
go.
There you go.
There we
Oh,
go.
wow.
Yeah, we're all big fans here as well. I know Dennis was one of the first guys to tell me about that show, and he's a big fan as well. Listen, at some point, Philip, you're going to have to go back and watch Greg tell us about a lot of great things about you and working with you in the past years.
Well, can I ask a question though before we say goodbye to Greg though?
Yep.
Philip, it's got to be so rewarding, especially with me talking about give your experience and knowledge freely, to see somebody like Greg, who you brought up through a company that you used to work for. It's got to be rewarding to see him doing such a kick-ass job there.
heck yeah, it's actually the best. My favorite thing right now is going to conventions and trade shows and watching all of the people that I've had the joy and the privilege to mentor, either for a little bit of time or for a long period of time, and see them flourishing and making real change in the industry. And that's anybody that has the chance to teach people or coach them, that's like the thing that ultimately you get really excited about, is watching folks like Greg, who's doing a kick-ass job over at Boom, and along with the rest of the team over there, Ash and Josh and Anthony and Adrian on the marketing and sales side, a bunch of great folks still over there doing fantastic work. Seeing people like Morgan Perry and Arun Singh and Hunter Goranson that I had the chance to work with out there, shaking things up and hopefully taking a thing or two from our time together and applying it.
Amen. Well,
That's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, I agree. Greg, thank you so much for joining us, man. And I'll be bugging you after the show, my friend.
Awesome. Have a good one.
Later, brother.
Take care,
Hey,
Greg.
Greg.
Yeah.
Awesome. See you, man.
Yeah.
One of the good guys right there,
Well, it'd be different if we didn't have so many of our guests talk about Filip in the same way that Greg talked about Filip. You know,
I'm just. Do
I'll
I
be
see
right
a
back.
little gray in someone's beard there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What? All right. Welcome
Join the
to
club.
I'm joining the old timers.
There you go.
I got a couple
Welcome
stories.
to the
I'll
club.
probably repeat them a few times.
and who are you again?
I don't know, man. Some days I wake up and I go,
Okay, I got my first question for you, Filip.
okay.
Okay, so how did you put the chocolate and the peanut butter of comic book retailers at San Diego and a burlesque show and figured out that would be a winning combination for a big splash at San Diego?
I would love to take credit for that, but I can't. I actually have to. All the credit is very rightfully our director of marketing's Bree Sarpy, who you saw on stage at the end of that burlesque show was really
That's her husband, right?
Yeah, the MC is her husband, and she put the whole thing together, and she came to us pretty soon after we were starting to develop the marketing plans for San Diego and for Voyeur, and was like, okay, crazy idea, burlesque show. And I think she expected us to say no, but we were all like, yeah, that makes total sense.
And her husband was very good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I think
very good at being very bad. The jokes were like hacky, and that was intentional.
Yeah, and it was great. Yes. That's a
Yeah.
burlesque show, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If he was really, really good, then it would have taken away from the dancers.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he I think did a phenomenal job keeping the night moving and like giving
Absolutely.
you a little bit of a break, and at the same time kind of explaining all the rules for folks that haven't been to burlesque in a way that like is fun,
Yeah.
as opposed to just feeling like you're being lectured to for 20 minutes before the show starts. So yeah, I couldn't be more proud of all of them. They really pulled it together, and if honestly, Dennis, we knew the folks in the industry would enjoy it because it's different. It's like we've all been to countless Comic-Cons, countless events, and it's always kind of the same thing over and over. So just the novelty of like, oh, I get to do something different. But we also, like for us, it was the all of San Diego was meant to be a physical manifestation of all the stuff we've been talking about for a year, which is like, hey, we want to give fans the opportunity to have create a connection with either a property or creator based on an experience, and feel like they're part of a community, not that they're just like an ATM when they walk by,
Right.
Ignition Press, and that we've got our hands out just looking to grab, whatever cash is in their wallet. And I think we pulled it off. I was really, really happy with how it worked. I don't know if you guys
think
caught
you pulled
it,
it
but
off? You think you pulled it off? Are you kidding me, man? Listen, dude, I know we told you while we were there. There was no doubt in my mind that Ignition Press was the belle of the ball to me. I think that you guys, the way that you guys said, we're going to have a presence at San Diego, but it doesn't necessarily need to be in the con to make our presence known. And dude, you had something going on every day at that place. It was a perfect venue. It was, within walking distance of everything in the Gaslamp district. It was within walking distance of the con. It was a fun place. There was creators there. There was tons of people there that you knew and that you're able to talk to. You had open bar events. You had food, the burlesque show. I mean, everything about what Ignition Press did at San Diego, Filip, was a freaking hit, dude. It was that good.
Thank you.
It was really that good,
Thank
man.
you.
And that's not even talking about the books, by the way, you guys. I mean, when we saw you at the I think, what was it, at the Comics Pro event, and you came over and you handed us some books, and that was my first time I was able to get books in my hand and feel the quality, not just the covers, the interior pages, uh, and we're
The
going to get to
weight.
the biggest part about this. The way everything about the books is quality, right? The stories are great. You know, I had a chance to read stories. The art is great. Everything about it is great. But then you did this, and you told us to flip it over. And I'm going to show everybody this. This to me was like, this is the important thing, right? Let me see if I can get this to focus there, right? I mean, look at this, you guys. You know, one of the things that you did, Filip, is you went out, you asked not only retailers but collectors, what would you want us to do, and you did it. And you know, that was the amazing part to me. Like, on top of everything else you did, the product is there, the quality of the product is there, and that's the important part.
Thank you so much. What was funny is when you started and you said pulled it off, I was like, oh, did I accidentally walk into like a burlesque joke there?
Right,
Like I
right,
just
there you
walked
go.
right into it, like, and I was, but yeah, no, Brian, thanks so much. You know, the last thing you mentioned, the unique serial numbers, I've been like I've been sitting on that for over a year because I had that idea. We had that idea. We were like, and I remember after I left Boom, my good buddy Mike Fragazi, who's our print broker and has been my buddy for years. He was at the party in San Diego. He came out to LA because he's like, you know what, I want to celebrate. You were at Boom for 12 years. I'm going to come out. We're going to go have a nice dinner. And it was at that dinner I was like, hey man, I got a crazy idea. Is this possible? And then if it's possible, is it possible to do it at a cost that won't break the bank? And he was like, yeah, I think so. And the idea originally, you know, kind of came from all the feedback and listening to folks and obviously paying attention to the collector space. But I was looking at, you know, Marvel books, and they all have a code for the digital download. And I was like, well, if they can print that, then I'm pretty sure we can do a serial number. And he was like, yeah, but it's what's crazy about it is, not to get too far in the weeds, but it is the industry of comics show, right?
Amen.
But to do this, you actually, so you have to print the book, and then you have to take, or specifically you have to print the cover, and then you have to take the cover and you have to run it back through a separate printing process in order to, hold on, where's my camera? I think I'd be better at this.
Yeah.
Oh, guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, this one's blank
perfect.
because
Yeah,
this was
Sure.
one of the first
Test-
ones that came
Yeah.
that came off. But I actually have a physical copy of Murder Podcast 1, so that is not
nice.
out yet. That's going to be out in stores in about, I think, 3 weeks.
Did that one have an ash can?
Oh, look at that.
Yes, there is an ash can that is. So what we did was, you know, again, we're trying to get everybody to get excited about the books, about the content. So for Murder Podcast and Voyeur, we're shipping every retailer that is signed up for promos through Penguin Random House a bundle of 25 ash cans of Murder Podcast and Voyeur, and that's different. Essentially, what it is, it's different than the cold open, which is its own standalone story. And then the ash can will be ash can size, which is about 6.5 by 8.5, full color, and roughly the first half of the first issue. So we just wanted to give retailers, you know, tools to get people excited about the books and get them reading.
And I think Voyeur was on FOC last week, or was it this week? That's on it last week. Yeah,
it was last week. We got a week off this week, and then we're back next week with Roots of Madness and then Deluge. So,
oh man, this is great.
How do you take the San Diego? What's the best word for it? The excitement, and how do you put that into your weekly business to retailers?
Well, I think there's a bunch of different ways. First of all, I think the main thing is you can't just have that one moment, right? That was essentially our coming out party for the public, right? We've been meeting with retailers, we've been meeting with creators for, you know, a year at different conventions and doing small events and things like that, but that's industry facing. So this Comic-Con was really the first time we went face to face with potential fans, potential customers. And so we wanted to come big, but then past that, you have to keep it going. You can't stop. So it's a combination of digital activations. One of my, again, to sing Bree Sarpy's praises, she's been doing ahead of FOC these like TikTok reel videos that like she's figuring out like what the hot kind of like viral moment is on TikTok and then repurposing that for promoting the books. We've got things like we just announced, Jeremy Hahn's going to be doing a nationwide tour starting from, Rose City at the beginning of September and then going through, I think it's 9 different stores and then ending up in New York Comic Con. So that's a month-long promotion, and the reason we wanted to do it nationwide is because then you can get national coverage for it, right? And so all those stops are able to kind of feed off of that larger excitement. Yeah, that's a great example. So this is that's not actually Jeremy, by the way. Everybody thought it was, but that's Ben, her husband again.
Yeah, she's been killing it. She's been doing a really good job on these little social media posts that she's been doing, which is a big deal, a real big deal.
Yeah. So it's I think, Jesse, it's a combination. I think probably the hardest thing for anybody that's a content maker, you guys included in this day and age, is the great thing about the era we're in is there's a very low barrier to entry to create content and to distribute it, but it's noisy, right? And so just even getting through and getting information to stick, because somebody can, the old adage in advertising marketing is you need to see something 3 times before you
Right.
remember it, right?
Yep.
And the problem is when we have so much information coming at us, how do you get those 3 times to be, close enough together that it sticks, right? So, I think it's a combination of things. You want to follow it up with additional in-person events. We've got a bunch of creators who are really excited and engaged. So, for example, Stephanie Williams was at Fan Expo Chicago this past weekend. She's going to be at another show. I'm blanking where now. That woman travels everywhere. She's everywhere. It feels like I don't know when she has time to write, but she does. And then we have other creators who are pushing on their newsletters and developing YouTube shows, and you just hit it from all angles. And our hope is that because our creators all like each other, they're all excited about building this thing together, that they're aiding us, helping us with that lift and expanding it.
So based on what you just said, social space is just as important as shelf space.
I think for awareness, yes. I think that I think shelf space is important for meeting, and when I say shelf space, I mean like not just in store, but in conventions and
Sure.
even the virtual shelf space of
eBay.
Of a website, right? Like that's critical for meeting the customer where they are and hopefully converting them from like somebody who's interested in some TikTok video we did into actually purchasing the book. So I think they're tied. What I will say is that I tend to focus heavily on like what the engagement level is. That's the thing that we get most excited about, because my experience is that if you're focused on just trying to drive your audience up at any cost, you're ultimately not actually going to be connecting with that audience.
Right.
You need to build the engagement, build the audience relationship, and expand the size of that audience in an organic way.
Well, I would like to say that you're doing more marketing than any other comic company, period. And if it drives 2 people to my store to ask me to order your book, it's a huge success, because it's usually 6 issues in from Marvel or DC when the zeitgeist finds them, and then the person comes in and goes, "Hey, do you have, this comic? I'm like, it's 6 comics, it's 6 issues deep.
Right.
But getting people in before a book comes out and getting them to subscribe, or just getting them, hey, I just want to get this book. I seen it on TikTok or wherever. I gotta have it and try it. Is just a huge, huge thing in our business. And like I said, and I'm going to reiterate it because this is one of my biggest things. No other comic company is doing marketing. They just aren't.
Well,
I mean,
and I'll
being
I'll
on
go.
X, tweeting, we have a new book coming out, is not fucking marketing. And they're paying a lot of money to have somebody do a tweet. TikTok, way more successful than that.
Right.
It's visual. There's somebody that you can connect with, and you find interest in, and then you're interested in what they're interested in.
It's the new school.
I just want
it's that new
I
school.
don't give high praise very often. If you've ever watched this show, I usually like to find where people can get better. I got to give you the highest praise I can give for marketing from San Diego to what you're doing online. And I see it on Instagram and I see it on TikTok, because now I'm everywhere. I have to be on all these channels. So,
yeah.
And I'll go one step beyond where Emmett's going. You can't just market issue number 1.
Right.
Dark Horse, Chuck Patuliak, or however you pronounce his name, with Fight Club 2.
Palahniuk? Is that his name? I think it's Palahniuk, maybe.
Yeah, you don't know. You're the worst at pronouncing last
I
name.
think it's
Brian.
Palahniuk. Hey, what are you talking about, dude? I had Coglianese the other night. That was a good one.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so Chuck P blew me away when he was promoting Fight Club 2. He promoted every issue as if it were issue number 1, issue 3, issue 4, the first trade paperback, everything. And it's the one thing I tell everybody. The amount of books that retailers like the 3 of us could tell you didn't find their audience until the 3rd issue or the 4th issue, you have to promote every one of those issues as if it's issue number 1. You have to make just as much deal out of issue 3 as you did number 1.
Yeah.
And you have to keep the momentum going.
If you see an uptick in issue 3, 4, or 5, you have a hit.
Yeah. I look, I hate to be the attaboy, but yeah, like I agree with everything you guys just said. And Emmet, thanks so much for the kind words. I mean, we're doing our best. We're hustling because this matters to us, and we are sincere in wanting to like reach not just the fans that are already in your store, but the folks that aren't in the store, and the reason we built the marketing system that we did is specifically so that we can continue to support titles as they go into issue 2, 3, 4, issue 69, as Derek mentioned there in the chat. And the way that we believe you do that is you build a direct relationship with the audience, and you get them to opt in, and they want to get the information from you, right? Whether it's through a YouTube show or a newsletter, but dedicated direct channels, right? Because one of the challenges with social media is that they control your access to your audience, right? And if you're not paying for it, you might have a dedicated audience, but there's no guarantee that they're going to see what you're posting, right? So, going back to San Diego, the goal for us at San Diego was not to sell copies of Voyeur First Look, even though we were happy to do it. Was not to sell Deluge the Cold Open, even though we were happy to do it. The entire setup was built to give fans an experience so that they would opt in and give us their contact information. Because then we can create a relationship, then we can sell them in the long term, right? And the hope is that as we scale this thing, that, for comic shop owners, we can go, and instead of having to guess, I can go to you and go like, I know I have this many people that are excited about this series or this creator. And by the way, they've already opted in. So I don't have to guess whether I'm reaching them because we're emailing them directly. Right. And that doesn't mean we won't do, the more outward facing publicity efforts for issue 4, 5, 6, and on as well. But the reality is that, every press site is excited for an exclusive on issue 1 because it gets clicks. Almost nobody's excited to get your exclusive first look or announcement of issue 6, unless you're killing somebody, marrying somebody,
Yeah.
like there's a new character, and for the most part that only works for superhero comics too, unless
Right.
you're kind of like at a Walking Dead level of success, at which point it's like you're fine. You don't
Yeah.
need to stunt cast it,
I also got to say one thing really quick here because I just remembered it. The people that you had working the event, I don't know how that was set up, if those were people that work for Boom or they're just people who had that was another thing. Like they were so great at the event when, you were coming in. They were super nice. They were very like not I wouldn't say overtly nice, but like it felt like they were paying attention to you. It felt like you mattered, right? As whether if you're a retailer or just a collector or what, it really felt like you mattered being at that event, whatever event it was. That was really important too. And the reason I want to bring that up is because it goes back to something that I know Jesse has said a lot, is that customer service is such an important thing in this world these days, because you want people to come back, and that felt very evident.
Welcoming.
Yeah, very welcoming.
Well,
Everybody
and
that we met.
I've got 2 more points. Not only were they polite and pleasant checking us in, but unlike another company, which I won't throw under the bus tonight, the people working the booths at San Diego knew nothing about the artists that they were selling. Whereas the people you had working the booth at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night after a burlesque show knew everything about each one of the ash cans. They knew the selling points. They knew the price points. There's, I think, 2 young ladies and an older man, like a slightly older man, not old like
Not
us.
old
but,
like us.
yeah.
Not a boy.
But those 3 people working that booth selling. And here's the thing, that wasn't a selling event, just like you said.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to buy, they had the knowledge to sell us the product.
Yeah.
And that was what was lacking from a lot of publishers on the floor of San Diego, let alone Philip's little pop-up, burlesque night. You know what I'm saying? And that's something to be, upheld.
And that was the very best tequila drink.
I was just going to say
San
my number
Diego.
2. My number 2 was Emmet was addicted to that tequila drink. So whatever that was, make sure you're always offering that if you do an open bar.
Well, here's my problem with most places, right? I go to this really fancy bar and every drink I get is super strong. And I'm like, I can go down to the dive bar and pay $10 less to have a drink taste this shitty. This is you're a mixologist. This tastes like crap. That drink was great. Was fantastic. It was perfect level
Everything
of alcohol.
felt good about
mix.
that. The freebies.
It was. That's why I'm saying I'm giving such high praise, because everything hit. There wasn't anything that you go, oh yeah, but there was no yeah, but it was.
It's attention to detail, right?
Yeah,
like you have to, the drinks that we hired a local, like our catering company. We actually picked the mixology company first, is this company called Snake Oil Cocktail, and they were the best cocktail catering company that we could find, and you could tell from their presentation, from like the way that they approached crafting the drinks, that it was going to be good. And then same thing with the caterer, and I have to give credit to so there was a lot of Ignition staff there, but we're a small company, so I brought in my old friend Mike D'Alessio, who runs a company called Promo 360. And Mike's company for years, I don't know if he still does, Mike will correct me later if he hears this, but for years he ran the Marvel booth, right? So if you went to Comic-Con at the height of it, where like there were those great fan experiences, and like that's Mike's company, Promo 360. And I go back to with him all the way back to my Top Cow days. And one of the things we talked about was we needed support on the floor with the retail side of things, because we were going to be taking meetings and coordinating a bunch of different stuff. And Mike said, no problem, we'll handle it. He brought in his right hand person, Jen, to like run the venue for us, and she crushed it. She was the shorter, kind of curly haired lady that you saw there. And then he said, look, the people that we're going to bring in, Jesse, you'll appreciate this, I think. He said, everybody I bring in to work shows for me is Disney trained.
Wow.
So they go through the whole Disney store, Disneyland experience, and that's how he picks and vets people for customer service and for events, because he knows that there's a base level there, right? And they understand that you have to know the product you're selling, you have to understand who the customer is, you have to understand, and I can't tell you, like, through those 4 days, the amount of times that if they didn't know something, one of them would come up to me and say, hey, I got a question about this, explain this to me, how's this work, why is this priced this way, somebody asked for this, and then that information disseminated with all of them, and they just killed it. So attention to detail, and pick good people to work with, like, it's those relationships are critical.
Now let me talk about the books. So the books, with all the marketing you have going on and everything, and holding these books, they have great weight.
Yeah.
They're like satin finish. They're not matte. They have like a gloss, but they're not glossy where they pick up fingerprints. There's so much attention to detail. There's a lot of retailers that watch this show. These are the kind of books we should support and hand sell, because then other companies will say, maybe we should make a product like this, because the product is pretty great when you get it in your hands. You right off the bat. I don't have I'm in a small market. I can't buy a lot of books, but it will be at my max level for books, because it is such a great quality. I like the numbering on the back for collectability without being overly like, oh, this is a 1 in 1,000. You can only get this if you show up at this place. I like that off the rack cover A is collectible. And you get your number, right? You get,
right.
If I have 10 issues, if you're the first guy, you get to pick your number.
Right.
So, I mean, I love all the things about it. So I'm going to support it to my max for that, because I'd like other companies to take on, they just steal good ideas. I mean, that's how you get ahead.
That was part of the evil plan. Is one thing I learned at Boom is that, and I told retailers this. I said, look, even at Boom at our height, for most retailers, we were not going to be the difference between making your rent payment or not making your rent payment. Maybe for 6 months there, when like Berserker and Something is Killing the Children were at the height, maybe we finally got to a level where like we were helping people make payroll. But for the most part, independent publishers are, about growing the audience. It's about growing the market. It's about offering your customers variety, right? But one thing I learned was that at Boom, if you're loud enough and you're effective enough, you can shift the industry, because, like you said, but the most sincere form of flattery is imitation, right?
Yeah.
And when you're doing something right, you're doing something right, because you'll start to see other people, copying. And probably one of the prouder things we did at Boom that shifted the industry was the way we really pushed affidavit returnability, right? And trusting the retail partner, and being really using it as a signal to say, we believe in this project, right? And I genuinely think that because we did that, we proved that out, folks started to follow us, that when 2020 hit and we had a period of instability, it made it that much easier for every publisher to go in, you know what, we're going to do line-wide returnability on everything during this period of time, because we need to band together. So the evil plan here, the not so secret evil plan, is create a model that works, that makes the industry better, and that everything we did with these books was about trying to make it easier for you guys to sell the product and for the product to sell itself. Like I'm eternally grateful for any retailer that takes the time to hand sell one of my books. That's amazing. But you guys are busy as hell.
Thank you.
And especially nowadays, like back in the day when you had one distributor and all the books showed up at one time, maybe you could say, hey, you know what? Thursday is going to be my day where I'm talking to customers all day and I'm hand selling them, getting them excited. Now you're getting shipments in every day of the week. You got 5 different systems you're dealing with. You're having to promote and be on social at the same time. So that was essentially this. This was built so that if somebody picks up the book and flips it over, all of the information they need, the counter pitch is right on the back, right? And the entire creative team's on the back. Even things, we had these little touches like, and I sent out an email to retailers this week where, like, even in that little key, like if you pick it up, it has the genre, right? So if you're just glancing like, oh, this is an adventure book. This is a science fiction book. This is a horror book, whatever the case may be.
That's such a great idea.
So I do have to mention a correction on what Filip said.
Yeah.
He said when you were dealing with one distributor, you got all your books in 1 week. It was some of your books in a week. So let's make sure that is corrected there. Hey, you're shaking a lot of hands in San Diego. Tell us about the demographics. Are you seeing a lot of younger retailers come into the game? Is it still the good old boys and girls that you're shaking hands with? Where are we at there?
It's a mix, and I think on some level it's always been a mix if you made the effort to like go out and talk to people. Like there are definitely the familiar faces, the fellow gray beards or graying beards, that and those relationships like with you guys are incredibly valuable because they go back decades, and so there's trust there, there's confidence there, and then there's the younger retailers coming in and actually a lot of the folks that now feel younger to me have been in business for 10 years, and then there's the generation behind them, or in a lot of cases it's longtime stores that are bringing their managers out to these events, and those are the folks that are really kind of driving the ordering or the hand selling in the store. And so we want to make sure we're talking to them as well. And because what we're doing is so different, if what we were doing was kind of following the model of everybody else in the industry, I could just show up and go, hey, I got this creator who you recognize. I got the 1 in 10, the 1 in 15, the 1 in 25, and the 1 in 50 variant cover from these artists you recognize. And it would be easy. Not easy, but it would be easy to explain it. I would fit neatly into a box. And so a lot of the work that we're doing, we've been doing for a year, we're going to continue doing, is making sure that we have those one-on-one touch points where we can really explain all this stuff, and say like, look, we've really thought about everything. We've really listened, and we're really trying to make your job easier in these different ways, and then the books are good. And you oftentimes can't, like you said, I watched the show, so I remember you saying like, for me, it's going to come down to whether the books are good, So that was the first thing when I saw you, I was like, hey, nice to meet you in person. Here are the books. You tell me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that I've read them, they're good stories.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like anything else, art is subjective. People are going to like it and people aren't going to like it. But the quality is there. Like it's well written. The art is really good. If you don't like the story, it's not because it's not well done. Where we have a lot of that nowadays, where you might not like it because it's just not good. These are really good quality books. If you don't like it, it's just you don't like it.
Well, you're also pulling in some really quality creators too. I mean, we talked about Jeremy Hahn earlier. Tim Seeley, Cullen Bunn. You got these quality creators, and we haven't even talked about what a lot of people think is going to be the biggest book of the bunch, and that's this book right here. Talk a little bit about the beauty, because To me, this is the hit.
I want to talk about beauty though.
Okay.
This was the #1 book at my store when I was still selling new books,
Mm-hmm.
because one of the female employees read it. She then passed, and literally it spread like the beauty virus through my store.
Yep.
And the 5 of the girls at my store, they hand sold 15 copies every month of this book. And we never had a complaint. And then when I saw that you guys were, I'm like, the first thing I said to you was, what's with beauty? Oh God, that's one of your partners. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So the context for folks that are watching that aren't familiar with the book is that Jeremy Hahn and Jason A. Hurley co-created and co-wrote this series, The Beauty, that was originally published at Image. And funny little old man story bonus piece of information is that originally The Beauty was part of Top Cow's pilot season. And so I get the distinction of saying that I was the first person to say yes to The Beauty.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And basically it didn't win pilot season, but Jeremy and Jason really believed in the project and the idea, and I always thought it was really great. So they came back. This was after I had left Top Cow and moved on to Boom, but they came back to Matt Hawkins and said, "Hey, would you be okay if we took this and took it over to Image?" And Matt, to his credit, was like, "Yes, of course, great. We're not doing anything with it." So they started publishing in 2015. And it ran 30 issues, 6 volumes from 2015 to, I want to say the last issue came out in 2020. And now it's moved over to Ignition because Jeremy's one of our partners, and credit to Eric Stevenson and the Image founders. They set up a system where the creator, if they decide they want to move the book over, they can move the book over. So that is the cover image for issue 1, which will be out at the end of October. And we were previewing it, but before it comes out in October, we offered this. This is for local comic shop day.
Oh, that's
so
beautiful.
This is the first 11 issues of the original series, and it's I think about 270 pages for $20. So we wanted to make it a really easy entry point for people that want to catch up before the new series launches. I guess I should probably tell folks what it is. It's the easiest pitch of all time. The idea is that it is a near future world where there's a pandemic, but this pandemic is instead of being airborne, is a sexually transmitted disease. And the sexually transmitted disease makes you Hollywood hot. All of your wrinkles go away, those extra pounds fall off, everything just gets a little tighter, a little bit more in alignment. You're the best looking, you're the best looking version of yourself. You're not gonna be Brad Pitt, but you're gonna be like the Hollywood hot version of the people you see on the screen. And so we are a vain society. So what do you think happens? Everybody rushes out to try to get it. There are, sex parties specifically for people to try to get the beauty. And then of course there's a small contingent of, the population that's like, I think there's a catch.
Yeah.
And 2 years in, the catch reveals itself. So when you have the beauty, people thought the only kind of side effect was that you kind of had a low grade fever. You were running at about 99 degrees all the time, just run a little hot. 2 years in, the first person dies from the beauty when they spontaneously combust, and they kind of get this, their eyes get blacked out, their skin looks like they're, basically burned up from the inside, and, almost like a marble ashen statue from like Pompeii or something like that. And the story of the beauty is really a series of stories in that world and kind of what happens in that world, right? So what's great about the story arcs is you pick one story arc up, and you you basically get to invest yourself in those characters and their experiences in the beauty. And the question in the first arc is it the disease that killed the person, or is there something more sinister going on? So there's these two detectives that are investigating it to try to solve the mystery of this. And so we're bringing the beauty back.
I just realized the ignition symbol was through her.
I got to talk about this real quick, Philip, because this is one of the best T-shirts I have ever seen, man. This T-shirt is so good. I don't know if you guys catch this, but you could see that it's that image that we saw, but it's the Ignition Press logo too. What a great T-shirt design, man. Absolutely gorgeous. So
that is our genius level art director, Scott Newman, who does all the design stuff. And there's one for Deluge as well that uses that key motif where there's a monster coming out of the key. We just wanted, honestly, we wanted it to again, just be thoughtful about the branding. You guys saw when you walk through, there were all these little touches reinforcing the brand with, stuff like this poster and just little elements throughout, because we just want you to feel like, you're having an immersive experience and that you're part of something.
Brian, you got to talk about the artwork back in the corner.
What are you talking about?
Oh, the Arcadia one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we move on, Dennis, I wanted to let everybody know about the beauty. So you may be asking yourself, why are we bringing it back? And the reason is because Ryan Murphy, who created American Horror Story, who created Nip Tuck, and he's a mega showrunner.
Yeah.
They finished principal photography and they're in post-production on a TV show for the beauty. It's going to be on FX and Hulu, so it'll run on FX and then syndicate on Hulu afterwards. It is, according to Ryan, his most expensive show. This is like Game of Thrones level stuff. He basically said, this is everything I've been doing my career. Is it's American Horror Story meets Nip Tuck. It's sexy, it's dark, it's weird. The cast is ridiculous. Evan Peters, who folks might know as Quicksilver, but is also like one of
American
kind of part of Ryan Murphy's camp. He played Dahmer in the Ryan Murphy Dahmer series. So he's in it. Who else? Ashton Kutcher's in it. Isabella Rossellini. I'm gonna forget.
That's actually kind of clever, because Isabella Rossellini was in Death Becomes Her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is one of the movies that I always think about when I think about beauty.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
That book releases September 24th, Philip, just so you have the date there.
Yes, the collection is September 24th, and I think officially it'll be I think retailers it's part of the local comic shop day event. So like Saturday.
Do you have to be a member of Comics Pro to order that stuff anymore?
Nope.
Not anymore.
Okay, good.
Through because we're through PRH, it's available for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, and you don't have to pay $50 anymore.
Yes.
You can
If you're not a member.
in it. And then at New York Comic Con, actually, they just announced there's going to be that'll be the first time they talk about the beauty publicly. They've done a couple interviews and they teased it at the TV upfronts. But they're doing a panel on the main stage with essentially all of the main cast members. Anthony Ramos is somebody who I forgot, who's in Hamilton and in The Heights, brilliant actor. So we're really excited. As I was chatting with the Reed Pop folks, I said, hey, how many times in the history of New York Comic Con has a comic publisher had a panel about their TV show on the main stage in their second month of publishing?
Never.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, but how many publishers had Filip Sablik?
There you go.
There you go. Bam.
The Hollywood piece is my partner Eric Gitter, our CEO, who's the producing genius,
and who I believe we met out at San Diego. Really good dude. That was one of the best conversations I had at the con. As a matter of fact, Ben Steiniger is in the chat right now, the House of Stein, and there was this really cool moment where we were all standing around talking, and Stein came over after buying one of the new Voyeur ass cans, and he looked at the back, and Stein had number 001 of the Voyeur ass can, and it was such a cool moment. So shout out to Ben Stein, who's in the chat right now, man. That was a very cool moment, and Eric was there talking with us. It was like the cherry on top of, to me, what the whole Ignition Press, San Diego Comic-Con was. It felt like that was the moment where I was like, okay, I think this is like the moment of San Diego for me, where I felt like this is one of the most important things that's going to witness at San Diego was Ignition Press, kind of like their liftoff. I felt like this is your guys' liftoff. Speaking of New York, what are you guys' plans for New York? Do you have plans for New York? Are you going to be heading out there?
Yeah, we are. Believe it or not, we're finalizing those actively now. We are going to be out there but those plans are all still coming together. I wish we were already locked into place, but we were talking with the Repop folks today and figuring out what the best way was for us to make an impact. I think I can say pretty confidently we will have a presence during their retailer day. So anybody that comes out on Wednesday for that retailer day, Ignition will be there. And then we're finalizing the details, but we've got a approach for a floor presence and then cross promotion that we're going to be doing there.
It's kind of hard with, like, this is the thing I was telling everybody. I've been to New York many, many times. This is my first San Diego trip. So New York is much bigger. I don't care what anybody says. It's inside. It is huge. The only thing is the experience ends when you step outside the Javits Center. It's over. New York is doing New York, right?
Yep.
San Diego is the whole city, and it's amazing. Like, even if you don't have a pass or a ticket, you can have some experience at Comic-Con if you're in San Diego during Comic-Con.
The thing that crystallized that for me, Emmet, was I remember years ago I was working on getting a block of hotel rooms, and I was talking with a longtime friend of mine who's a travel agent that helps me get room blocks, and I was like, oh man, like the availability is really short. Like, is this New York Comic-Con? And he laughed and he was like, Philip, it's New York Comic-Con, but it's also Fashion Week. It's also, and there were like two other things. And he's like, and that's the thing, right? Like, you show up to San Diego and Comic-Con has taken over the city. There is nothing else happening in San Diego the week of Comic-Con. In New York, you step outside of the Javits and it's, like you said, New York's going to do New York. And they're like,
it was funny. It was funny. Well, Emmet and I were waiting on Sunday evening to move from my hotel out to his hotel to have dinner. All of the weddings that were booked to be in there after San Diego start showing up.
Yeah.
And all of these like expensive wedding dresses and the whole bridesmaid crew. It's like, oh God, the geeks are gone. Now we can do some regular business.
And they wrap it up like this. I mean, within 2 days, everything is back to normal. Well, they do such a good job.
If you could believe it, it took us like close to 2 days to set up the Ignition press room. It was torn down in 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, it comes down much faster.
But
I want to get back to answering Dennis's question, but I noticed in the chat, it looks like DT asked, what artists do you have for some great covers? I think quite a few. One thing I should say about our covers, and you guys already know this, is on every Ignition Press comic book, the regular issues, there'll be an A and a B. And if the person writing the comic is also an artist, so for example, Jeremy Hahn, Tim Seeley, Phil Hester, who we announced, there's always going to be a cover by that creator. And then there's always going to be a second open to order cover that is the series artist, because one of the craziest things for people that don't read comics and come in off the street is picking up a book I'm like, wow, this is a really
I
cool
love it.
cover.
Yeah,
I,
it's
I
awesome.
love this. This is great. And then they open it up and they go, well, that's cool, but that doesn't look like the cover.
Yeah.
Right.
And so just putting some thought and going, you know what? We're going to give Mike Tisserand a showcase on cover B because he's an awesome artist. That's why we picked him to do the interiors. And this is the cover that's intended for the person that is the casual fan, right?
That's
And I'm
cool.
going to share one more thing just for fun. I mentioned Jeremy Hahn's doing a tour. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is
Funny.
the tour variant.
I love it. That's a perfect book to get him to sign. That is great.
Yeah.
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 So, and then with, with incentive covers and things like that, we're not doing a lot of them, but we'll either get an artist that we just think, excuse me, really cool.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
this
really
is
cool.
gorgeous. We
I'm a
saw this.
skull
We
nut.
talked about this the other
Yeah.
night. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And this printed awesome. I was worried that it was going to be a little bit muddy or unclear, but
So who's
man,
this artist? Talk about this artist real quick.
this is his. I've never said it out loud, I don't think, but it's Ibrahil Lurchi, and he's an illustrator. He's a fine artist that does gallery exhibitions and fine illustration. And Jamie found him. I think actually Jeremy might have found him. Now that I'm thinking about it. And I just thought he was awesome. But there's, like on Deluge, we got a Becky Cloonan cover.
Beautiful.
On the cold open. We had Riley Rossmo's doing the main covers on that.
Oh, I love Riley.
Yeah.
And then that's
yeah.
Paulina Ganeshow.
Yep. Voyeur #1. Beautiful.
Yep. We got a Yannick Paquette cover on issue 1. That's like the 1 in 5 incentive. So I think, again,
I think
going
I've had
back,
half of your cover artists at my convention back in the day too.
I love the issue
That
number
sounds
2
about right.
covers as well for Voyeur that I've seen. That we used one of them in the with the thumbnail with the TV. As I thought that was excellent, absolutely beautiful. Okay, so Dennis, we were gonna. There was the one book that we haven't talked about yet is Arcadia, and you had dropped this.
Let me get.
Yeah.
I got to set this up.
Yeah.
So Philip just had his coming out party. The place, there's still 100 people milling about. I'm going to the restroom. I come out of the restroom, and Philip, I just was like, oh, Philip, I just wanted to congratulate. Dennis, have you seen the artwork yet? Come back here to the secret little back corner, the media room. and he's like, take a look at this. And he starts up this little sequence, and I had to get my phone out because it kind of blew my mind.
This is cool. See if I can bring this up. Yeah, look at this.
Explain this, Philip.
So this is a 10-foot wide, 5-foot tall oil painting that Iñaki Miranda, who's the co-writer, co-creator of this and the artist of this series, painted. And these characters are called super dragons. They're very important in the series. And what's crazy is, I think because of the special paint that he used, he created a digital projection that was projected on the painting, which is what you see changing there. So that is light and in a sequence, right? And so in person, I mean, this looks great, but in person, it was insane.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I thought, just seeing it out of the corner of my eye, it was just some big giant projection screen TV sitting on the wall, like a plasma TV on the wall. And then Philip's like, no, right. There's the projector, and I'll run the sequence, and boom, boom, boom. It was breathtaking. But it was cool that Philip still gets excited over something like this in the middle of all the people he has to go out and press flesh with.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, Dennis, you've got to see this. Kind of put it all in perspective for you, Philip, was like, oh, you were so happy that you've accomplished this next level of your evolution in this industry. And, kudos to you, brother. Thank you, man.
Dennis, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and our Arcadia is maybe the most ambitious project we're starting with. The Beauty will technically be the first ongoing series, but that already has an established audience. It's relatively a safe play. But Arcadia, the series from the Miranda brothers is our second long form series. It's 12 issues long. So in this market, that's what the equivalent of Marvel ongoing, I think.
Yeah.
And these guys, if the Miranda brothers sound familiar, it's because they did We Live at Aftershock.
Okay,
They're doing Blade Forger now at Mad Cave, and they're really known for creating these big imaginative worlds. Like they do cool stories, but it's really just the world building that's insane. And I kind of look at those two guys and I go, it's like they must have been at the perfect age and perfect place to basically be a fusion of European comics, like heavy metal Metal Hurlant influenced, and North American comics and manga and animes in there as well, and it all comes together incredibly. This is the black and white. It doesn't.
Hold on,
because this was the first look. But in color, it's the colors are incredible. It's a series.
I'm a black and white guy. I love it.
Yeah, so do I. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So the idea with this world is basically that it is a kind of a post-human, post-apocalyptic world. At some point, there was some sort of gigantic war, and humanity extinguished itself. And what's left are these artificial beings called serents, and they look humanoid, but they have these like little devices in their forehead called pearls, and those pearls are their essence. It's like all of their memories. It's their CPU, right? And they're essentially incubated in those super dragons, those cool kind of like characters you see that are in these abandoned silos and warehouses. And they don't know why at the beginning of the story, but essentially serents have to go in and rescue the newborns, because the minute one of them comes out of the incubation chamber, there's like essentially they start the super dragons, and then there are these other larger kind of automatons that start trying to kill them. And so they at some point, they kind of in the preview and in the first issue, they explain like something happened at some point after the Great War. There was almost like an EMP happened. So none of them know. There's no history. They don't know who they are, what they are, why they're here, what their purpose was. And really, the 12-issue epic arc is about these two young characters, essentially a boy and a girl, going out into the world trying to figure out why they exist, and why the world is the way that it is.
Philip,
it's going to be epic.
How do you decide like what books you're gonna work on? I mean, do creators come to you and like is there a way for people to reach out to you? Like, how does that work with Ignition Press, with like what you choose to create as comics?
Yeah, I mean, the answer of what we choose to publish is pretty easy. We got to be as excited about the creator and the concept as they are. And what we tell creators is, we want the thing that you've been holding back. We want the story you've been afraid to tell. We want the story that you aren't sure you could pull off. And that means we get a wide mix of stuff. Like in the first 7 books, we've got thriller horror, we've got a disaster, monster book, we've got a sexy heist, we've got a big expansive post-apocalyptic science fiction story. They're all over the place, and it's because something about each one of those stories spoke to us and got us really excited. We say no a heck of a lot more than we say yes. I think in the first 6 months, I think we said no to more than 100 different pitches from different creators and said yes to about 25 of them. So out of 125, we said yes to 25, which I think is about a 20% yes rate. And that was from creators that we had gone out and asked to pitch. right now, I think in terms of like anybody who's watching that, you know, wants to pitch us something, we don't have an open submission policy. And to be perfectly honest, right now we've got projects going out through 2027. So even if you know, snuck one past the goalie, it would be quite a while before um, we'd actually bring it to market. But honestly, the biggest thing we've told folks is like, if you are, you know, maybe early on in your career, but you've done some self-published stuff or you've done some stuff elsewhere, reach out and make sure we get samples of what you've done, because that's really going to be the path in, right? We first have to read something that gets us excited about the voice or, you know, the ideas that a writer or an artist has, and then we ask for, okay, what do you have that's interesting?
Do you have anything like trailer parks and evergreen beer? You'd have to be watching the beginning of the show for that. But that was.
We might have something.
Yeah,
we might have something.
But
trailer
Philip,
park.
are you
Yeah.
going to make Ignition socks? That's all that this panel
Yeah,
cares
that's all
about.
I care about. Give me some stock.
Jesse, I just need your what's your MOQ, and I can get you socks, buddy.
Right, let's do it. We'll talk afterwards. Hey, I want to talk about your mission statement. You know, I come from corporate, so mission statements are very important. And traditionally, more mission statements are kind of boring, right? Comic book therapy at its finest. There's my mission statement.
That's not boring.
Well, I know. Well, there's rhythm to it. Okay, it's not boring. But you added kind of some adventure to yours and kind of a invite, which is very unique. Unlock your next. What is it? Unlock what's next. Unlock your story. Can you explain that to me or to us?
Yeah. So I think that's like what you're locking into is our essentially what I would refer to as like our tagline, right? Like it's our you read Ignition Press and then kind of who is Ignition Press, and that second piece should answer that, right? And so we really liked the idea of unlocking because it feels active. It requires engagement, right? And it signals discovery, right? Or you're gaining knowledge, right? And so what we tend to talk about is like on the books, they all say unlock your story, because we do want each of these books to be somebody's favorite story. And we thought it was also important to send the signal that like, yes, it's words and pictures, but we're telling stories. We're in the narrative business. We're in the business of trying to create readers, right?
Fucking
so story is a critical piece of that, right? And then the first part we've often been using to signal the genre, right? So it's unlock horror, it's unlock science fiction.
Okay.
Roots of Madness is unlock the cosmos, because it's a cosmic horror series. So it gives us, like you said with yours, right? It has rhythm, it has energy. It's an invitation. We've also talked about like when we're building point of purchase material for stores. We've been using this phrase, unlock your fandom.
Yeah.
Right. Unlock your fandom inside the store. Because everybody's looking for that, you know, trying to find their place or their group to be a part of. The larger mission statement, which I don't know if I said to you guys when I first came on, and the impetus behind Ignition Press is to now I'm going to blank on my exact verbiage. Words are important, but it is to foster vibrant creativity. That's what we're trying to do with the creators. We want to do it, and so it's to foster vibrant creativity with integrity and commitment, because those are two things we feel like are lacking oftentimes in our industry.
Amen.
In order to make the entire industry a better place. And essentially, if we do that, then all the other business goals will take care of themselves. I'm a big believer that if you know where you're going and why you're doing it, then things like profit will
take care of themselves.
take care of themselves. It's a byproduct of serving an audience, serving a community. And if you do it in the right way, they come back and they support you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask a question that you mentioned that doesn't really deal with your publishing house, your business. Where is the industry in your mind right now?
That's a good question. I think that it is. I keep saying, and I feel like a broken record because I feel like I've been saying this for a few years, but I think we are in a period of seismic shifts and changes in the business and the business model. I think we are probably closer to the tail end of that, of the current, like businesses go through ebbs and flows, they go through
Right,
periods of
sure.
change, but I think we're kind of coming to the, end of the third act of, the journey that essentially was catalyzed by the pandemic. Like I think that was, and I think the last 5 years are all changes that would have happened over the next, 10 years, but it was accelerated because of this, once in a lifetime event that forced everybody to rethink things.
And one more question real fast based on that. Do you think in any way, shape, or form that the Diamond BK is slowing that down? And when it does fruition and ends, does that finish the changes that need to be done?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Diamond bankruptcy is maybe the most obvious from the business side, kind of like, oh, this is the end of an era. If you were going to mark the beginning of, kind of the modern direct market post Heroes world until 2025, I think that makes a ton of sense. And I do think that, 5 years from now, we'll look back at like, what did the industry look like in 2023 and what did it look like in 2026, and it will be very clear, like how much it changed. I don't, and I think in terms of your original question of like, where is the industry, how do I think the industry is doing, I think that, and we talked about this a little bit the last time I was on, I think in many ways there's more incredible opportunity right now to connect with fans, to tell great stories, to do good work. And all of the tools are there, but it's more complex, which makes it harder, right? The thing that I think I talked about last time is like, when I got into this business, if you were in the publishing side, you needed to get into the previews catalog and you needed to have 2,000 true fans who were actually Marvel and DC fans that were willing to pick up your books.
Yeah.
And I think you could show up and solicit and do bare minimum. And as long as you kept your costs under control, there was a sustainable business model there. And I think for a lot of retailers, that was true too. It's like, if you knew how many Batman fans you had and how many Spider-Man fans you had, and they were coming in every month, you could build your P&L around that. And I think now the current market, because it is so much more kind of fractured and niche in kind of like the subgroups within it, means that you have to be paying attention. You have to be active. And yeah, Storage Bag asked a question if I think we're entering a new age of comics. I do. I think we're in it. Like, we are in the transition.
Couldn't agree more,
period.
man. And I think that you said that you have to pay attention. I think that is one of the biggest things that especially DC and Marvel just aren't doing right now. I feel like there's this vast disconnect where, and I talk about it a lot, I think that the guys in this industry who are doing it well, the publishers, the companies, they have their finger on the pulse of their fan base, right? Or who they want to be their fan base. That's the important thing. And you kind of hit it out. You show that you have your finger on the pulse with what we talked about earlier about how you guys look at social media and how you're handling that. That's so important that, we talked about that. A lot of people don't even think about that, are old school, been in this industry a long time, that maybe that doesn't pop in their heads these days. And It is
Yeah.
it is a new age right now. And publishers like Image, right? What they're doing with, Skybound, and now Ignition Press, Boom Studios. I think that, like, those are the guys, those are the publishers, those are the people that are putting the industry on their back and saying, "Hey, we'll continue to carry you guys until, whatever we need to do." I think you're doing a good job, man, and it's unreal to watch, dude, for sure.
I have a few business questions if we still have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
okay.
The-
Go ahead.
First of all, structure. Are there editors for the artists and writers who
Yeah.
are going to follow through with? You have a horror editor, a sci-fi, or maybe they handle two different genres. Is it genre based, or is it each book gets their own editor?
It's creator based. So right now our editorial team is 3 people. It's Jamie S. Rich, who's our editor in chief, who's editing a ton of these books. In fact, essentially all but the 6 out of the first 7 titles he edited because he was there at the ground floor. And then Maggie Howell, who came over and joined us at the beginning of the year, she was previously at Black Label and other parts of DC, and then was at IDW. She's the editor that found Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and came over and she's editing stuff. So it's typically more relationship based because we're creator driven. And our creators are going to want to tell different types of stories.
Mhm.
So it's about that editor building a relationship with a particular writer or artist and helping them do great editors ultimately are excellent because they're good at helping someone else tell the best version of their story. Right. That doesn't happen at Marvel or DC because that's the franchise management business, right? That's what
Yeah.
licensed comics are. You've got a universe and a set of rules to play in, and like you have to adhere to those rules. In creator owned, in original publishing, it is about helping the writer and the artist find the best
tightest
version of the story
version
that they
story.
want to tell.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great to hear. The other thing is, as you said, that the slate was all the way out to 2027.
Yeah.
You're not the only publisher that's out that far. Is this a new thing for cost cutting? Is there a save of money? Is there a reason why we're out 2 years? You're doing it. Mad Cave's done it. There's several other small publishers that are their slate is 2
Yeah.
years out.
I can't speak for other publishers. I will say that it is not a cutting series. If you want to cut costs, you run those books as close to release as possible. You want, to be laying out as little capital as possible. So from that perspective, it is significantly more expensive to be.
But are they
producing.
getting the books done? Like, so you have the slate so the people that are in 2027, are they already creating the books so that that you're going to have consistent?
Yeah. So that's
Oh.
really what it's about. It's about having a production schedule that is humane for the creative team so that they can do their best work, so that people can
Phenomenal.
afford to get sick, to go on vacation, to have kids, like you have to work that far out. And the reality is we're building a new publisher with brand new properties that nobody's ever heard of. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier to sell those things if I can show you a bunch of content, show you that we're, well ahead of where we need to be, and that way you've got the confidence to order it and say this is going to show up when we need it to.
Yeah, because we had that conversation with Greg, and we gave him a lot of examples of books. I don't know if you were listening at the time. Is that on hiatus and how many subscribers you lose every time you go on
Yeah.
hiatus, and they pick up another book. We don't lose them; they don't leave comics. They pick up and get invested in another book, and when you start coming back to the book,
They're not
they don't go
invested
back.
anymore.
They wait for a trade or whatever, which may be profitable in the book, but it's not good for the comic shop. And
Well, there's a couple other factors that go into this, right? One is you guys have talked a lot about on the show, but there are, like, if you're going to be successful generating content, you need to be thinking about all the different markets and how they fit together, right? And so another reason to work further out is if you want to effectively sell something into Barnes and Noble, they're placing those orders 9 months in advance.
Yeah.
And they want to see the whole thing. And for years, one of the reasons that comics struggled is because they were used to like, no, we finished the last issue of that series yesterday. We sent it to press, and now we're sending the trade paperback to press because that's in China, right? So the further out you plan, the better you can hit all of those different markets, meet the audiences where they are. And I think the other thing that we looked at was, you know, we really asked ourselves the questions of like, what are kind of conventional wisdom things that everybody takes for granted, right? One of the things that everybody takes for granted is that books come out monthly, because of course they do, because Batman's on shelves every first Wednesday of the month, right, guys? Like clockwork, never late. and that used to be true, right? Before there were all these digital tools to educate people, you had to say like, okay, the first Wednesday of every month is Batman, the second Wednesday of every month is Spider-Man, right? But that's not actually, I don't believe, how customers work today. And it's also not good for the retailer, because that means you're ordering blind, right? So instead we said, originally it was going to be 5 weeks, but with Penguin Random House, the way the schedule works, it has to be 6 weeks. But we basically said, look, you can count on an Ignition Press title coming out every 6 weeks, which means that if you come in for Murder Podcast #1, come back 6 weeks later, it's going to be here for you. Issue 3, 6 weeks later. And what that means is that, when you're placing your orders for issue 2, you'll actually have at least almost a week's worth of sales data to
numbers.
say, this is how many I need, right? And
that's huge.
And I think Brian showed it, but like in the backs of the books, right? We have like, let's see, do we do it in the cold opens here? I just got to try to find
the schedules.
Where, yeah. So we just,
that's a big deal.
We literally put,
yeah, that's a huge.
Here's the
deal.
release schedule.
Yeah.
Right. And here's, by the way, if you've never read comics, you know what the hardest thing about getting into comics is? How the heck do I find a comic book shop?
Comic shop.
Yep. Amen. That's a good deal.
So my final question is more of like longevity here. So 20 years ago, young Filip Sablik in his old tennis shoes was working over at Top Cow, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just about. I would think that might have been my last. 20 years ago would have been my last year at Diamond, and
okay,
19 years ago would have been Top Cow, I think.
All right, and then 20 years ago, our good friend Ross Ritchie started Boom. 20 years ago, I opened my first comic book store, and I'm pretty sure all of us remember 20 years ago when all of the talking heads in this industry said floppies are dead within the next 3 to 5 years. And then floppies didn't die. More people came into the industry. We had some of the biggest successes that we've ever had in floppies. We also had a lot of huge successes in trade paperbacks. And now I heard over the last 2 to 3 years, floppies are dead. And now one of the most seasoned veterans of our industry is about to start a floppy comic publishing house that will eventually lead to very prestigious trade paperbacks and books to be carried everywhere, but it's still a floppy model. Is floppy the market? And are we wishfully thinking that there's this other market? But you didn't think of any other business model but a floppy market when you came into this.
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons. First of all, I think the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Applies to comics very well, right?
Yeah.
Let me just say at the top, I happen to believe that I don't think this format or some variation of this format, the page count may change, the price point may change, all these things may change. I don't think it's going away, because it has something that all the other formats don't have. Collectability.
Yes.
Right?
Amen. Amen.
And the reason it's collectible is because it's fragile.
Yep.
Right. And so I think as long as there are people that like to collect stuff, there will be a audience. Now, how big that audience will be, like we've all been doing this long enough. Sometimes that audience is, the market cap is 100,000 people, and sometimes it's 250,000 people, and sometimes it's 500,000 people. It will ebb and flow.
Yep.
But there's always going to be someone that, gets excited about the Pokemon aspect of a gotta have them all.
Yep.
In a way that, even though this might be a more convenient thing to throw up on my shelf, and sometimes can be a more satisfying reading experience, although I would argue some of that just comes down to how much attention to detail and intentionality are you putting into those single issue comics. And I don't think these two things are mutually exclusive, right? Like, I think there's an audience that will gravitate towards this, and then there's an audience that'll gravitate towards this.
Yep.
And, it's not a pie with limited slices. And so I think that's the biggest mistake we tend to make as an industry, is we look at it and we go like, this is finite. I came, Dennis, you were talking about 20 years you opened your store. 25 years ago, when I got my first job at Diamond answering customer service, literally as I was walking in the door, they were like, well, this is probably going to be done in about a year, right? Like, they had just come out of the Marvel bankruptcy era. Like, it was, I came into the industry right before Authority and Planetary ignited over at Wildstorm, right before Ultimate Spider-Man ignited. And by the way, people conveniently forget this, but like, when Ultimate Spider-Man was announced, people hated that.
Hated it.
Big time.
Right? And so I think the better question to ask is, what are the new avenues to find new readers and new fans? And how do we reach them? How do we get them excited about one thing and then open their eyes to a world of, amazing stories?
Can I tell you how I think that is?
Yeah, please.
What we're doing right here. I think that content, social media, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, I think this is that avenue, right? To bring in those new readers. And I think that, again, kudos to you guys for seeing that and keying in on that social media stuff, because that's where a lot of these new people are going to find out about this, this and word of mouth, obviously. So,
sure,
Jesse, do you have anything?
But here's a prime example. Brian, who did I tell you was the winner of San Diego Con? Publisher wise.
Greg Hopkins at Boom.
Yep. And Philip. Why? Because I didn't go.
Yeah.
So the only way I knew who was the winners was socially.
Yeah, people that talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was no third place.
There wasn't.
It was 1 and 2, and it depended on the day, and it depended on the hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesse, do you have any more questions for Philip before we let him get out of here?
Okay, so I have something cool to show you, and then some advice to give you. All right. So we talked about this earlier. No, well, socks. We'll then talk about that off there. I can't give my secret out. I love Philip, but we can't air our future
golden
business.
goose. Yeah.
Panels Plus Ignition Press is in it. You have a great page here. And I think you did a fantastic job. You got your mission statement out. You got what Ignition actually stands for. However, what I would suggest is what I would like to see from you guys is the where am I going here? Here we go. I would like to see the prices of the books on the page.
There we go.
Yep.
I can take that advice. I can apply that note.
Yeah. I think that's very important to have those prices on the page. Very, very important. So,
Amen.
but great job other than that.
Thank you.
Before we let you get out of here, I'm going to give you my final thoughts, and I just want to thank you. One of the things that you did at San Diego, which meant so much to me and us over here at Beyond Wednesdays, even though we didn't get a chance to take you up on the offer, you told me multiple times, you let us know multiple times that, hey, I have a multimedia room. If you guys want to utilize this multimedia room to do anything, you just let me know. And I think that I want to say thank you again for supporting this brand over here, Beyond Wednesdays. You've supported it since we started, and we can't thank you enough for that. And we're fans of Ignition Press over here. I think that everything that you're doing is great, and we're going to continue to let you know, continue to bug you to come over here and keep us updated. And I can't wait to see you in New York, man.
Yeah.
Likewise, guys. And thank you so much for being such champions for, you guys have been in our corner since we first started talking about that. And, Jesse and Dennis for many, many years before that. If I went up at a retailer presentation and I didn't hear Dennis yell boom loud and clear from the background, I was like, man, what I do to make him mad. I really appreciate you guys, and just I do watch the show. I haven't seen the first half yet because I was having dinner with the family, but I will definitely be watching it on the replay. And I know that your passion bleeds through the screen every single week, and you can't do this for 3 hours every week if you don't love it, right?
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
A lot you don't realize. Brian has us chained to these chairs, so we have to do it for 3 hours before he hits the auto unlock button.
Be honest. Which one of you, week to week, who's using a catheter to get through these shows?
I'm getting ready, man. I'm getting ready to run to the restroom really
I drink
quickly.
that much iced tea every show. And the second this episode is over, I am straight to the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, I just go on mute and I go. I don't know why these guys. I mean, I'll be back. I'm not waiting.
As usual, Jesse is the smartest man in the room.
I know, dude. I know. We let him know every episode.
Yeah, the second we go out there, these two guys, we'll be right back.
Well, Filip, thank you so much, man. And we're gonna bug you more in the future and continue the great work and keep us updated, man.
Definitely will. And for anybody that's watching, the website is up and running, and there's a spot there you can sign up to become an Ignition Insider, where you get a newsletter from us. We don't spam you, but if you're interested in what we're doing, it's the easiest way to find out.
Will it also list where he's going to be for the signings going on?
Yeah, and we haven't gotten that page up yet on the website, but it'll be up probably before the end of the week.
Awesome.
And then, just thank you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody that watched this long. Really, really appreciate you.
Awesome, man. All right, brother. We'll see you next time. Adios.
Take care, Phil.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
We kick him off. We get him out of here.
Yeah. Jeez.
One of the good guys.
Again, I will say this every time, every conversation I have, whether it be on the phone, in person, live streaming, you walk away very excited about the future, not just Ignition Press, but for the
whole industry. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and we said it. I said it to Brian before San Diego. I said it on this show after San Diego last year. The entire industry felt like it was playing a giant game of musical chairs. I had never seen that many people move around that much. But one of the things I said was, if Filip is leaving Boom right now, he is going to land on it. He's already got his exit plan. He's already got the idea for what he wants to do. And we were not disappointed in where Filip landed and what he's doing, because he's Filip when it's all said and done.
Yep. They're going to be great for the ecosystem. I think a lot of the hustler, like everybody's like, oh, it's a hustle. Like, no, this is a genuine business. This is a real business. Jesse come from corporate, right? This is like business is I love business. I never got to work for a big corporation or anything, but I love business. This is not a hustle. This is a business. And Ignition Press is great for the ecosystem of that business.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're going to do a lot of feeding off of it.
Right. There's no hustle like Caitlin Clark. You know, she's like a hustler. You know, she's out there getting put on comic book covers. I mean, she is just rocking.
Are we going there?
No,
I don't know. I just thought it was a great segue, but
we're 3 hours.
I
in,
thought
ladies
we'd
and
remain
gentlemen.
positive, and I would discuss what I got over the last week.
Let's do that then.
All right, pickups. Let's get to it. Dennis, you start.
You want to show mine?
All right. What is yours? What did you send it to me?
I sent you a video in the group chat.
Yeah,
from YouTube.
Dennis doesn't send me these videos because all he gets back is "fuck you."
Let's see. Here we go. Spider-Man 2099. Oh Jesus! Wow, guys. Oh my God. Do you see that?
Oh, okay.
Do you see that? Oh wow! I got a 10 on Spider-Man 2099 #1. And wow.
That's crazy.
I mean, these 2 copies were flawless. I'd had them in a box for over a year to send off. Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Oh, you get a little gold up here on the top, too. PSA 10.
Oh.
Outstanding.
Okay,
I'm
so
going to put this off to the
it's a
side.
10.
Yeah, so
Wow.
PSA, when
Okay,
you
that's
get a
my
10,
first
and
10.
that's the first 10
Let's
I've gotten
see.
out of 200 books that I submitted.
Welcome,
And,
everybody, to another PSA unboxing here at...
I'll just let it play while you're talking.
And so out of 200 books, I got 110. And I feel that a lot of offers on it, but I'm going to hang on to it for a while. They're not handing 10s out like they're going out of style.
No. And that foil book is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, foil with that foil gold. Oh, that's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
to get a 9.8 in those is crazy.
Love that.
Oh, yeah.
chromium
10
cover
is
right
fucking
there.
ridiculous.
Beautiful chromium cover. Some Spawn. I like how they send them to you with those special foil or those special foam. Yeah.
Oh, actually, here's where actually let that play in the while I'm talking. Because I actually bring out some CGC books to show you the difference.
So trade, and I've got a CBCS that I actually sent off to get graded, and I'm going to give you the difference on each one of them. So, but I'm going to show you based on this. So, my buddy Red Hood, who does a lot of pressing for me, he's got the one-handed method for cracking a CGC. First of all, guys, when I hold this and this in my hand, this feels like nothing. This CGC 9.4 Tales of the Jedi, Free to Nod. This is a fairly rare book. It got reprinted once, so obviously I wanted to get it in a 9.8. It got back a 9.4. I bought this in a trade, and I said, I just like to have that book in a slab. And you can see there's a couple ticks on it, so it's probably an accurate 9.4 grade on that. I don't know actually. Look at that. I get you a 9.4 at CGC. FYI, I don't like CGC. Just to let you know. Okay, so here, Red Hood has. So like I said, lighter. You can feel. Just watch this. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? That book is sliding around in there. That's nothing I'm tapping. If you can hear that. So Red Hood does what he calls the twist. So I'm just going to twist this. This has been sitting in my inventory for several years. I'm going to twist this, and we're going to see. Oh, is that cracking sound? Oh, is that cracking sound? I'm just twisting it, guys. Oh, wait, hold on. Is it already loose? I'm using no tools. Oh, yeah, I get my fingers in here. Watch this.
One-handed method.
This CGC case is cracked. Look at this. I don't want to damage the book, but it's already damaged in the CGC case. Look, this is just me with my bare hands. All right, there. I've already got the inner well out. Crack this open. Got the inner well out. Boom. Book is freed from the CGC case. By just twisting a little bit. All right, you know what? Hey, let's see. Maybe these guys are just as easy. Oh, shit. You can't even twist this. Hold on. Okay, watch. Nothing. Guys, this just drove 2,500 miles from California to Michigan. 2,500 miles from California to Michigan. The foam collapsed, the cascade effect. I am banging this on the table, guys. I'm banging this on the table. Twist. I'm twisting a Twisted Comics. Guys, I am not pantomiming this. You cannot twist this. You saw me twist this. I'm telling you, I'm not faking this. You cannot twist this. All right, let's move to CBCS. You guys know I was the biggest slappy for CBCS there ever was because I refused to use CGC. I just did. This came. Oh, that's a 9.8 white pages. Damn it. Can I crack that one? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna twist it. Oh, actually, yeah, no, this isn't, you can't twist this one. So here we go, guys, I'm gonna show you the difference. All right, so that's that. Now I'll tell you the difference between this. This is just as flimsy, but the case is strong enough and locks on itself enough that I can't just twist crack it out of the case. Put that up against that. It's actually a little wider than PSA. I never knew that. CGC or CBCS, a little wider, more visible on top, but I saw everybody complain about that visibility. And I did not have a problem looking at some of those tops, but it is definitely way clearer and it's way more pronounced with the darker font. Maybe they just need to bold that tape a little bit more and spread it out a little bit more, because this just has twisted tails up here, and it probably could say, a little bit more like Eclipse or whatever, but it's thicker. So can I see the thickness here? Can I show you the thickness? It's just a hair thicker. I'll show you that. It's just a hair thicker, but it's definitely, the CBCS is definitely wider than the PSA. So that's new information for me. I did not know the CBCS is wider than.
That's kind of crazy how easy you can crack a book out of a CGC slab. It's pretty
dude. And here's the thing. I just wanted to do it live. I've never cracked one of those like I saw Red Hood do. I just wanted to kind of show it. Especially in the episode where I get, the PS, or no, that was the one before the PSA 810. But somebody asked me in one of the chats, hey, can you compare the three? So I just compare them. And sure enough, that CGC just cracks like nothing. And PSA, I'm actually going to send a beater to Red Hood for a PSA book just to see how easy it is for Red Hood to crack a PSA case. That will be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Emmet, you got any pickups?
I don't have any pickups. I didn't bring it home. I did pick up some cool stuff today, but I didn't bring it home so I could show it. It's like 35 autographed 8x10s. The best ones out of them. I got an RVD, Rob Van Dam, and I also got a China. And I think, I got Shawn Michaels, but the Shawn Michaels is like water damaged or something at the bottom. The autograph's not affected, but the picture is. So, but yeah, a whole bunch of old Mets like Ed Kranepool and like none of their big stars, but a bunch of those. So
nice,
pretty cool little pickup.
All right, Jesse.
Before I show you what I got, so Panels Plus. This is issue 5, pretty good. They did a very good job on it. It comes with a nice letter, but I wanted to read something that I felt was very important. We have curated titles lists in 5 different key categories: action, adventure, fantasy, horror, supernatural, LGBTQ+, and romance. So those are the technically the 6 categories they have for this magazine. Very well done. I think retailers will really enjoy this. Very good product there. So we had some cool pickups. Brian, I sent you the 2 pictures, but don't show the pictures until I tell the story.
Okay.
I just put it in the chat room. So me and Shannon, we do our estate sales every weekend, and normally I do the buying. Shannon does kind of the paying at the end. I kind of walk away as the bad cop type person. She's the good cop with the money. So this past weekend, she said, she was walking around. She said, hey, can I get $20? And I said, sure. What are you getting? She goes, there's these 2 prints I want to get. And I said, well, so they're $10 each. And she said, yes, they're $10 each. And she came back with these 2 big prints and $5 in her hand. And she was so proud. She had talked them down $5 for these 2 prints. Brian, go ahead and show what she bought. She bought original Disney work. And when I told her, hon, those aren't actually prints, that is from Disney. From 98, 99 original
No,
art.
2018.
2018, I'm sorry. 2018, the frames alone were about $150. So very, very good job on her thing. But she was so excited. She talked them down $5. I'm like, how do you talk someone down from 20 to 15 for these pieces? So very good job to Shannon. I did pick up a book that I'm always disappointed in. Me, Dennis, Emmet know how big this book was back in the day, literally, because we had them in our collections and wanted to get these. Brian, I don't know if you're collecting back in this time when this came out, but I did pick up Daredevil 158. Very, very nice book. A book that, you know,
It was
at
the
one
Grail.
point, yeah,
That is
was
the
the Grail for
Better
every
than the
collector
ASM
in the world.
300. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody had to have this. It didn't matter if you collected ElfQuest, DC, Marvel, or DC. You had to have Daredevil 158.
Frank Miller's first
so
Daredevil on the series.
Right, exactly. Yep. Then I also picked up a Hockey Poo Poo, which was a Hockey Poo Poo, which I was like, I ain't scanning no Hockey Poo Poo. What the hell is a Hockey Poo Poo? Well, apparently is a sister or brother, who knows, to Labubu. So you get
it's
that.
It's not the same, Lois. It's not the same.
Nope, not the same company.
No. Remember when Lois bought Mega Blocks and
Okay.
Peter said, "It's not the same, Lois. It's not the same."
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, so I got that. And speaking of blocks, I picked up a Blockbusters toy.
I saw that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
In box.
So
Yeah.
You can't look this up unless every time you look it up, obviously Blockbuster comes up. Right. So very cool. It's kind of like a Lego knockoff. So that was
Speaking
pretty cool.
of, it's not
the same, Lois. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, it has some little blocks in there and all that.
That's
You guys
really
are
cool.
supposed to be a little bit more excited than negative against my pickups. So I did want to announce we picked up 3 sponsors this week, so I'm very excited about this. I'm going to send Brian a whole bunch of not QR code. What are they called? Codes for all the movies. Brian will give out during his shows. But we did become sponsor for Mission Impossible.
Oh, cool.
We did pick up that, so I'm going to have a whole bunch of cool.
Oh, cool. How much do we get?
I'm going to get you some. Yep. And then we also picked up the Smurfs.
Oh, very cool.
Yep. And then one of the things when you do movie studio stuff, they're always going to throw one to you that you're like, what the hell is that? But we picked up the Trust as well. So, and that's all Shannon. Shannon does that work with Map 360, with Paramount and all that. So very good job there. But that was my pickups. I'll try to do more common stuff like Daredevil 1 or something in the future. So we can't compare it. So it won't be not the same or whatever. So anyways, that was, no Turok #1s. You know, what's funny is in the last 3 collections, there has not been a Turok #1. How
That's
disappointing
crazy.
is freaking that?
I have a long box of them.
Yep. I'm coming up. That is my best-selling book last year. Sold over 2,000 copies of Turok #1. So,
all right, good stuff, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
I have a quick announcement. It's early. It's
Okay.
a little early for it, but I just got it signed. William Sadler will be signing at my shop.
Oh,
from
wow.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Naked Tai Chi and Die Hard 2, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also President during Iron Man 3. He was the
That's right.
MCU, the President of the United States during Iron Man 3.
That's cool.
And of course, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, that being said, you guys, make sure you hit that like button, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the show tonight. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Go check out Ignition Press. Trust me, it's worth
it's
the
worth
read.
it.
It is great stuff. Shout out to Philip and shout out to Greg Hopkins over at Boom for just being a cool dude and everything that he does. Another one of those guys that we're going to keep an eye on that I think is really great for this industry. And, you know, it's been a kind of like a negative past couple months, 6 months maybe overall. But we wanted to show you guys some of the really positive things and what success looks like in comics in 2025, and what Boom Studios is doing, what Ignition Press is doing. That's success in 2025, and we can't wait to see what they're going to be doing in the future. So that being said, much love to everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for Wednesday Night Review. I'll be back Thursday night selling live, and House of Stein on Friday, Modern Comic Mayhem on Saturday, and more live sales after that. Adios.